Ren was just watching prison guards for fun. Unexpectedly, he transmigrated into a cultivation world and became a prison guard. His name is Gu Qingfeng. He's an ordinary transmigrator, serving as a prison guard in the Dian dynasty's Mo's prison. Today, as usual, he came to check on the demons imprisoned here. But to his surprise, the demon locked up this time was actually a junior martial sister. She pitifully begged Gu Qingfeng to let her out. It means as long as you let him out, he can do whatever he wants. Her voice seems to have a kind of magic, making Gu Qingfeng unable to resist a dry mouth. Fortunately, Gu Qingfeng is a time traveler. In that era where technology is everywhere, he has seen all kinds of beauties. The little junior sister is at most just a social media face with a beauty filter. She can still hold on. And she knows that she's under the opponent's enchantment. If she opens the prison door, the other will drain her blood. Many of her fellow disciples at the Demon Suppression Temple have already died at the hands of this junior sister. He doesn't want to follow in their footsteps. So he immediately shouts, "You vile demon. I can tell with one look that you're not human. A mere apprentice dares to show off in front of me?" With that, he decisively turned around, ready to leave. As Gu Qingfeng walked farther and farther away, the junior apprentice sister decided to use her ultimate move. She immediately stood up from the ground, and transformed into a seductive, commanding lady. In a haughty tone, she ordered Gu Qingfeng to open the door for her. Gu Qingfeng couldn't quite handle her commanding voice. He never expected that the junior sister would actually be skilled in both martial and mystical arts. It would be a real shame not to take a look. Just as he was hesitating whether to turn back for a glance, the sudden crackling sound of a whip echoed. It completely broke down his mental defenses. He saw the junior sister in black stockings, holding a whip. She even asked Gu Qingfeng if she looked beautiful. Faced with the allure of the black stockings, Gu Qingfeng was deeply conflicted. Even though he knew this was the demon's seductive magic, he absolutely couldn't look back. If he did, he'd fall for it. But it felt like a waste not to glance at those black stockings. So he tried to comfort himself, thinking, what's wrong with just one look? After all, this is the Temple of Demon Suppression. The entire Demon Suppression domain is full of sealing spells. As long as he doesn't open the cell door, there will be no danger. Plus, there are heavy guards outside. Even if something goes wrong, they'll have time to save him. It's fine, after all, compared to Heisei, this is nothing. Heisei is truly eternal. But with just one glance back, Gu Qingfeng was instantly captivated, unable to pull himself away. She unexpectedly took the initiative to open the prison door and walked inside. Seeing that the prison door had been opened, the junior sister completely dropped her pretense. Her fierce demeanor was fully revealed. She lunged at Gu Qingfeng. She bit down hard on his neck. But as soon as she bit down, it felt like she had bitten into a stone. He nearly broke his teeth. At that moment, a system notification rang in Gu Qingfeng's mind. Detected that the host is about to be attacked by a demon. Getting attacked by demons makes you stronger. The system is now fully activated. He turned his head and saw his junior sister walking out of the cell. He was immediately startled and yelled, "Ghost!" Then he scrambled and rolled out of the cell. But his junior sister wouldn't let him get away so easily. She just leaped and landed right on top of him. Then, she bit down hard on his neck again. With that bite from his junior sister, Gu Qingfeng instinctively felt that he was done for. Unexpectedly, the familiar system notification sounded again. You have been attacked by your junior sister. Defense +1. Upon receiving the system notification, Gu Qingfeng smiled as well. The sound just now was indeed not an illusion. There really is a system. I immediately asked what functions the system has. The system replied that it can become stronger by resisting demon attacks. The only function of the system is quite literal. As long as it is a demon, I will be able to walk through the demon suppression domain with confidence in the future. However, before he could recover from his joy, his junior sister suddenly pounced on him. This time, Gu Qingfeng wouldn't go easy on her. He slapped him hard with the back of his hand. Then coldly said, "You almost scared the hell out of me. Turn back right now, damn it. Give me the girl back." The younger sister was totally confused. After realizing what happened, she got furious. "You lowly human! How dare you disrespect me? Watch how I deal with you." After saying that, he lunged at Gu Qingfeng again. He grabbed Gu Qingfeng by the neck. Then he slammed him hard onto the ground. System prompt, defense +2. Seeing the prompt, Gu Qingfeng, lying on the ground, suddenly woke up. It seems this junior sister is getting anxious. Now that I've angered him, I can continue to increase my defense. Not bad. Thinking about this, Gu Qingfeng decided to stir things up a bit more. He sneered and said, "Didn't you eat or something? Put more effort into it." "That's right. It seems like I'm your meal." "You really haven't eaten, huh?" "Sorry. My bad for blaming you." The junior sister was so furious at his words that she yelled at the sky. She directly entered a red-eyed berserk state. She unleashed a flurry of attacks on Gu Qingfeng. At the same time, the system's alert kept ringing in Gu Qingfeng's ears, defense increasing continuously. But after sitting for a while, Gu Qingfeng felt a bit tired again. So he simply lay down on the ground. Let the junior sister hit a little harder. "I've been sitting too long these past few days. My lower back is a bit sore." "Just in time now. Give my back a good pounding, don't slack off. Hurry up and use all your strength. Otherwise, be careful, or I'll hit you." However, as Gu Qingfeng's defense increases, the damage caused to him by the junior sister is also decreasing. As a result, the buffs she can provide are also becoming fewer. This made Gu Qingfeng very unhappy, so he retaliated and dealt her a heavy blow. What a useless thing. After saying this, he lay back down on the ground. He let the junior sister help him massage his legs. As a demon, how could the junior sister endure such humiliation? She went crazy and started punching Gu Qingfeng wildly, but after a long time, it was completely useless. Instead, it actually increased his defense points significantly. Ding! System prompt, "Congratulations, the host has reached the limit. You have acquired the talent Bronze Skin and Iron Bones." Hearing the system prompt, Gu Qingfeng sighed, "Looks like you're useless now. Hurry up and turn back into the Black Silk Goddess for me. Otherwise, I won't be so polite to you." The junior sister was momentarily stunned, but before she could respond, Gu Qingfeng had already pinched her cheek. He coldly said, "Why haven't you changed back yet? Isn't what I say effective? Since you're so disobedient, don't blame me then." After saying this, he threw the junior sister to the ground. He was ready to test the newly acquired copper skin and iron bones. He started kicking the junior sister wildly. Ultimately, under Gu Qingfeng's intimidation, the junior sister had no choice but to turn back into the form of the Black Stocking's big sister. Even so, Gu Qingfeng was still not satisfied. He said that since she could no longer increase his defense, then dance for me. Something cooler. The junior sister remained silent for a moment. In the end, she helplessly resorted to prostitution. During it, Gu Qingfeng, that scoundrel, even guided her through a few poses. Several hours later, the junior sister lay exhausted on the ground, panting heavily. Only then did Gu Qingfeng finally stop, reluctantly walked out of the cell, and before leaving, reminded the junior sister to remember those moves I taught her. Hurry up and master them. Next time, I'll come to check again. After reminding the junior sister, Gu Qingfeng prepared to take a look at other parts of the demon suppression domain. The demon suppression domain is divided into 3 levels. The first level contains low-level demons and evil spirits. The second level is for mid-level ones. Only those with the position of yellow rank demon officer or above can enter. The third level is for high-level demons. Only those with the Xian rank or above can enter. To enter the demon suppression domain, a token must be provided. Only by becoming a yellow rank demon officer can one be considered officially promoted. As for Gu Qingfeng, he is at most a temporary worker right now, so he can only casually stroll around the first level. But before he could open the next cell door, the guard outside notified him that it was time. It was time to change shifts. Gu Qingfeng responded. Then he happily went to change clothes. While changing clothes, he also casually inquired about the system. Aside from being attacked by monsters, is practicing on his own useful? To his surprise, the system responded with 3 exclamation marks. This left him completely baffled. However, it's better to rely on oneself than to rely on others. Gu Qingfeng decided to first check the scripture pavilion to see if there were any suitable cultivation methods. After arriving at the scripture pavilion, he went through a selection process. he found a book on Iron Shirt. The innate skill of copper skin and iron bones, like Iron Shirt, is to strengthen bones, muscles, and skin. The two are remarkably compatible. So, Gu Qingfeng decisively chose this iron cloth shirt. After a simple registration at the front desk, he couldn't wait to run outside. He was ready to go to the training room to test the effects, but he had just started practicing for a short while, when he suddenly opened his eyes. He didn't expect his progress with the iron cloth shirt to be so fast. What takes others years of practice, he can master in just one day. Now that he's perfected Iron Shirt, it just so happens to cover up his natural gift of impenetrable skin. After mastering Iron Shirt, Gu Qingfeng returned to Zhenma. His colleague Zhang Zhen, who was stationed in the same department, saw him and, shocked, asked Gu Qingfeng, "Why are you so proactive today? You're here so early. Usually, you don't come until half an hour late." Gu Qingfeng smiled awkwardly. "I just had an epiphany. I decided to work hard, to repay you, for all the things you've done for me these days. From now on, I'll come early for an hour every day to switch shifts." "How is it, Wenyan?" Zhang Zheng asked uncertainly. "Really?" At the same time, he secretly complained in his heart. "Is this guy taking the wrong medicine today?" However, after receiving a positive answer from Gu Qingfeng, he immediately put on a smile. He called out, "Good brother," repeatedly, and even said he would treat Gu Qingfeng to drinks when he had time in the future. After seeing Zhang Zheng off, Gu Qingfeng turned around again to look at the now empty prison. He revealed a satisfied smile. "Whose turn is it today?" he thought. Soon, he arrived at a cell covered in talismans and chains. The cell exuded an eerie and mysterious aura. Instinctively, Gu Qingfeng reached out to touch it, but as soon as he opened the small window on the cell door, a large eyeball covered in bloodshot veins suddenly popped out. In the next moment, Gu Qingfeng found himself in a place filled with the sounds of birds and fragrant flowers. Beside him, there was a couple playing and the red sun rising slowly. Suddenly, the red sun slowly opened its eyes. It turned out to be a large eyeball. Instantly, Gu Qingfeng felt a wave of disorientation. It was as if he were in a sea of corpses and blood. The road around him was paved with countless skeletons. A hundreds of meters tall cyclops appeared before him. Gu Qingfeng was very unhappy, but he didn't lose his temper right away. Instead, he wanted to see what exactly was locked inside, so he pretended not to have broken free and opened the cell door. Then, he saw a winged membrane creature. Gu Qingfeng calmly stared at Yanma's eyes, then suddenly reached out and grabbed Yanma's eyes. He immediately crushed them with a squeeze. With Gu Qingfeng's jab, Yanma screamed in agony. Cowering in the corner, he questioned Gu Qingfeng on how he broke his eye technique. However, Gu Qingfeng said that you've become bloodthirsty. "Come, I'll treat you." These words once again enraged the eye demon. It cast an illusion on Gu Qingfeng. The next second, Gu Qingfeng was drawn into the illusion again. The eye demon transformed into a cyclops and sat on the throne, looking down at Gu Qingfeng from above, as if gazing at an ant. Immediately commanded the lowly humans to kneel at his command. In an instant, countless eyes appeared around. A domineering pressure surged forward. All of it bore down on Gu Qingfeng. It even made him feel an impulse to kneel. Just as he was about to give in, the system finally delivered a notification. "You've been attacked by the eye membrane. Soul power enhanced." Accompanied by the system notification sound, Gu Qingfeng's soul power kept increasing. It soon exceeded the limit, and he gained Tongshu illusion. After acquiring a new skill, Gu Qingfeng couldn't wait to give it a try. He waved at the eye demon on the throne. The next second, he took control and sat directly on the throne. This scene completely stunned the eye demon. He never expected that. Gu Qingfeng not only broke his eye technique, but also took over his eye technique. Then Gu Qingfeng snapped his fingers, and returned to the prison cell. He picked up the eye demon and threw it away. Then he used the Millennium Punishment technique as a form of discipline. But considering that the opponent gave him a new skill, Gu Qingfeng decided not to kill him. He let him rest for now, saying he would come back next time. These words startled the eye demon lying on the ground. "Come back next time." Then Gu Qingfeng arrived at the scripture pavilion. He reviewed the materials and learned about Tongshu. Illusions have two functions: controlling others and creating phantoms. The caster can control the actions of the tree planter. The tree planter will fall into the illusion created by the caster. The drawback of illusions is that they must be made while making eye contact. Moreover, the target's soul power cannot exceed that of the caster. Otherwise, the effect will be greatly reduced or even fail. The strength of the illusion is related to the caster's ability. This can also be considered a growth-type skill. Gu Qingfeng feels that with his current soul power, causing trouble shouldn't be a problem against dancers in the gathering Qi realm. However, it would be difficult to counter dancers in the inner Qi realm. Martial arts are divided into 5 major realms: gathering Qi, inner Qi, true Qi, tough Qi, and innate realm. The innate realm is also known as the master realm. These 5 major realms correspond to the 5 levels of exorcism techniques of Zhenmos, namely, intermediary exorcism, profound exorcism, heavenly exorcism, yellow exorcism, and earth exorcism. Each of the 5 major realms is further divided into 9 minor realms. From 1 to 9, the 9th is the pinnacle. Only after reaching the 9th level of the current realm can one break through to the next realm, ascend to the next realm. With Gu Qingfeng's current cultivation at the 3rd level of Qi gathering, even with his talent of bronze skin and iron bones, and the iron cloth shirt, facing a strong master in the inner Qi realm, his chances of victory are still slim. However, he is not discouraged. After all, it has only been 2 days. The system has directly made him invincible at his level. If a few more days pass, or if he clears the entire 3rd level of the demon suppression domain, how strong will he become? At this moment, a sudden, elderly voice came from the nearby cell. "Young man, come here." Gu Qingfeng was taken aback when he heard the voice. I didn't expect this demon to be so proactive. He then walked up to the cell. According to the usual practice, he opened the small window to check the situation inside. To his surprise, he found an old man with a withered face locked inside. He even asked if he was here to collect materials for blessings. Just as Gu Qingfeng was wondering what blessing materials were, he saw the old man reach into his bosom. He tore off a piece of flesh from his body. Then he handed it to him. The old man reached into his bosom. He forcefully tore off a piece of his own flesh. In the next second, the flesh turned into bark. And this bark was also an important material for making clothing. Seeing this, Gu Qingfeng thought the old man was giving him a greeting gift. He reached through the small window into the cell. The old man was momentarily stunned by this operation. I didn't expect this prison guard to be so fearless. He actually dared to reach directly into the cell where the monsters are kept. Seeing that the old man hadn't handed over the item to him, Gu Qingfeng was also a bit impatient. Wasn't it supposed to be a welcome gift for me? Why isn't he giving it to me? Are you going to give it to me or not? The old man revealed a faint cold smile. He handed the bark to Gu Qingfeng. Gu Qingfeng saw that the old man had given him a piece of bark. He was somewhat puzzled. Didn't this old man just mention something about a uniform? Then he sniffed it. He discovered that the smell of this bark was surprisingly similar to that of the uniform on the prison door. He immediately understood what was going on. It seems this old man must be a tree spirit. The bark on his body can be used to make talismans, and it seems that Zenmos comes to collect the bark from him regularly. In response, Gu Qingfeng couldn't help but marvel at Zenmos's cleverness. This is completely a renewable resource. However, since the bark can be used to make talismans, it should be worth something. Therefore, Gu Qingfeng collected it. But you can't bite the hand that feeds you. One can't hold others back. It seems somewhat inappropriate for a man to practice here. Thinking of this, Gu Qingfeng decided to find someone else. At this moment, the old man's voice came again from the cell. "Young man, I wonder if you are in a hurry to report back. If you're not in a rush, could you stay and chat with an old man? I've been imprisoned in the demon suppression domain for 10 years. In these 10 years, I haven't spoken much to anyone. I'm nearing the end of my life. Before I die, I just want to chat with someone, to ease the troubles in my heart." Upon hearing this, Gu Qingfeng turned his head, indifferent. "Sure, what do you want to talk about?" The old man sat in the chair. He lowered his head and began telling his story. 100 years ago, there was a small village in Jixian County, called Zhangjia Village. The people there were simple and honest, isolated from the world. Once, a young boy named Zhang Han unintentionally planted a small pagoda tree. When he got to this part, The old man secretly felt pleased with himself. I was prepared to slowly coax Gu Qingfeng to open the door. But unexpectedly, the next second, Gu Qingfeng suddenly swung the door open. This move completely caught the old man off guard. He pointed at Gu Qingfeng and asked in surprise, "How did you get in?" "I'm a demon. Aren't you afraid I'll eat you?" Gu Qingfeng casually found a swing to sit on, unfazed. "I can tell you're a good demon. Besides, listening to the story through the door just doesn't feel right. Go on with the story. I still want to hear more. What happened behind the little locust tree?" The old man was speechless. He didn't know what to do next. Should he continue with the story or follow the process? He decided to act after all. Hesitation lasted 3 seconds. He continued, saying the little locust tree grew up into a demon. And then it devoured everyone in Zhangjia village. After finishing the story, the old man dropped all pretenses. He transformed into his true form, a demon with a cinched waist. His withered face twisted with malice. But Gu Qingfeng didn't let it slide. He threw a punch and sent it flying. Then he scolded, "Can you show some professionalism? Can't you finish telling the story before fighting? What's the difference between you and those cliffhanger jerks?" Hearing this, the tree demon's face twisted in rage again. After a few leaps to distance itself from Gu Qingfeng, it summoned countless vines, rushed towards Gu Qingfeng. In just an instant, Gu Qingfeng was tied up like a rice dumpling, hanging in midair. At this moment, the system prompted that you were attacked by the century-old locust tree spirit. Power increased. As the system prompt sound faded, Gu Qingfeng could feel himself growing stronger. Then he smiled and said, "Come on, put some more effort into it. I'm someone who's easily surprised." Those words instantly enraged the locust tree demon. It immediately summoned more vines, wrapping around Gu Qingfeng's entire body, trying to strangle him to death. And as the strangling force continued to increase, the system prompt sounds again, "You have been attacked by the centenary scholar tree demon. Power +5. 5 + 5. Congratulations, host. Your power has broken through its limits. You have gained the strength of 1,000 bulls and 2 tigers." As the system prompt concludes, the vines wrapping around Gu Qingfeng also begin to crackle. In the next moment, Gu Qingfeng tears the vines apart and steps out, advancing step by step toward the locust tree demon. The locust tree demon was startled, shouting, "Don't come any closer." But Gu Qingfeng just sneered, "Shout all you want. Even if you scream your lungs out, no one will come to save you. Feel the fear, old treasure." In just a moment, the bruised and battered tree spirit honestly began giving Gu Qingfeng a back massage. While massaging, he continued telling the story he hadn't finished earlier. It turned out he was that very tree. The place where he was planted just happened to be buried with a wooden spiritual weapon underground. Because he was nourished by that weapon day and night, he was able to take on form. The spirit weapon refers to powerful weapons with spiritual essence. They are categorized into 4 ranks: heaven, earth, black, and yellow. These correspond to the 4 grades of the demon slayer. That spirit weapon is called the Mu King's Sword. 100 years ago, it was a top-grade heaven-ranked spirit weapon. However, it seems to have been damaged. Its spiritual essence has gradually faded over the past century. Now, it has fallen to a low-grade black rank. Hearing this, Gu Qingfeng became interested. He immediately asked the Huai Tree Demon where the Mu Wang sword was hidden. The Huai Tree Demon said that when the demon exterminator came to capture me, I knew I was no match. So I hid the Mu Wang sword in a very concealed place. This place is known only to me. When I heard this, Gu Qingfeng was already out of patience. He grabbed the head of the locust tree demon directly, forcing him to get to the point. The locust tree demon was startled by his actions. Frightened, he quickly revealed that the Mu King's sword was hidden beneath the Earth God Temple on the back mountain of Zhangjia village in Jixian. After learning the location of the spirit weapon, Gu Qingfeng finally turned and left the prison cell. But I can't help but complain that this locust tree demon is so verbose. It's wasted so much time. It's almost dawn. At this rate, it'll be too late to go to the next room. I estimate they'll be switching shifts halfway through. So he decided to check in on his junior sister. He wanted to see how well she had practiced those poses. The man is clearly just a lowly jailer in the demon prison. But in prison, he lived like an emperor. Not only could he watch junior sister dance, But Sephora Waste even helped with massages. Seeing that the time to switch shifts was running out, Gu Qingfeng went to junior sister's cell. He skillfully unlocked the door, and saw the junior sister he longed for. This time, he asked her to be more of a dominant lady. Then try putting on the courtesan's outfit and let's see. The junior sister shyly agreed. Then, following Gu Qingfeng's idea, she transformed into a mature lady in black stockings. Gu Qingfeng clapped his hands and cheered, but he still felt something was missing. Thinking about it, he went to catch the eye demon to act as a helper, setting up a fantasy scene for himself. But the junior sister started filming a campus romance and a drama about competing for the emperor's favor in the harem. Just when he was having a great time, the fantasy suddenly got interrupted. This made Gu Qingfeng very unhappy. He asked the eye demon why the illusion was suddenly lifted. The eye demon was startled, and quickly replied, "Big brother, it's time for your shift change." Gu Qingfeng yawned. He reluctantly said, "All right. Indeed, good times are always short-lived." Then he got dressed again to switch shifts with Zhang Zheng. However, seeing Zhang Zheng walk with a little tune, he must have encountered something good. After some inquiries, he finally found out. It turns out that a few days ago, Lord Yang, the demon slayer, led a team to the Withered Valley Forest to hunt demons. As a result, the entire army was wiped out. The division in Wudong County's MOC was originally fully staffed, but this time, 4 yellow-ranked demon slayers and Xian-ranked demon slayers died at once. This left many vacancies. 4 demon slayers who reached the inner Qi mirror directly became yellow-ranked demon slayers. 1 more yellow-ranked demon slayer was promoted to fill Lord Yang's position. So now, there is still 1 yellow-ranked demon slayer position vacant. But all the Huangjia demon removal history in the inner Qi mirror has been officially established. So the only remaining vacancy is, according to tradition, to select a capable person through martial arts competition to fill the position. While urging him to cultivate, the martial arts competition is scheduled for 3 days later. Just now, when he passed by, many people were already signing up. Looks like it's quite lively. Hearing this, Gu Qingfeng became interested. He smiled and asked Zhang Zheng if only Qi condensation level 9 exorcists could sign up for this competition. Zhang Zheng thought for a moment. There's no such restriction. After all, quite a few at Qi condensation level 8 have signed up. Hearing this, Gu Qingfeng was secretly delighted. Great! There are still 3 days left. If I can advance to the yellow rank demon slayer, then I'll have the qualification to freely enter the 2nd level of the demon control realm. At that time, I will encounter more demons. With the system's help, it won't be any harder to get stronger than eating and drinking. This really is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. However, Zhang Zheng feels that those below the 9th level of Qi gathering who sign up are just small fries. After all, challenging a higher level isn't that easy. The final victor will surely emerge from the gathering of energy at the 9th level. Instead of spending that time, it's better to work steadily. Just focus on doing the job well. So he advised Gu Qingfeng to go home and rest early. But Gu Qingfeng still asked him about the registration location. He decided to compete for the position of the yellow contact sorcerer. Although the system only works on demons, the warrior is capable of killing him. Moreover, he can also win the competition. Such a high-profile thing doesn't match his low-key personality. But with the abilities he gained through the system these past 2 days, he feels that any one of them could easily crush someone at the 9th level of Qi gathering, and he has 4 kinds. The limit for Qi gathering at the 9th level is 9,000 jin. He is at 25,000 jin. There's no way I would lose due to distance. Meanwhile, the Hall of Righteousness was already packed with people. Those coming to register were all experts at the 9th level of Qi gathering. But just then, a white-haired young man stepped out of the crowd. He slowly spoke. 12th Squad. Apprentice Demon Slayer, Yi Xian, registering, 7th level of Qi gathering. As soon as those words were spoken, they instantly drew ridicule from the crowd. Did I hear that right? A mere 7th level of Qi condensation dares to join the tournament? This kid must still be dreaming. Another fool with delusions of grandeur. Even I, at the 8th level, wouldn't dare to sign up. And he's at the 7th level, completely unaware of his limits. Faced with the mockery of the crowd, Yi Xian simply coldly said, "A group of frogs at the bottom of a well. If victory and defeat are all determined by cultivation, then what's the point of martial arts? Everyone might as well compare their cultivation levels. Those who lack the courage to challenge, dare to mock others, they truly don't know what they are talking about. Classical Chinese mockery. That person immediately retorted, I call this self-awareness. Unlike some people who don't know their limits. At that moment, a hand suddenly stretched out from the back of the crowd. Brother Yi is absolutely right. I raise both hands and feet in agreement. Brother Ye's courage is admirable. I deeply feel indebted. I was originally hesitant to sign up due to my low cultivation level. But now that Brother Yi has set an example, I will join in the fun as well. With Gu Qingfeng's support, Yi Xian feels more confident. He immediately spoke earnestly, praising his brother for his courage and honesty. Such bravery is commendable. What does it matter if my cultivation level is low? We cultivators must have a heart that fearlessly faces strong enemies, cutting through obstacles. If today we see that the enemy's cultivation is higher than our own, we must not hide our sword. Tomorrow will be the same. There will always be someone in this world with higher cultivation than ourselves. Would that mean we would never dare to step out? After Yi Xian's impassioned speech, the people around were also greatly inspired, and they expressed their desire to sign up. But when Yi Xian said, if you and I join forces, even if we are only at the 7th level of Qi gathering, we can still make our mark in this world. Gu Qingfeng felt a bit embarrassed. He admitted he was only at the 3rd level of Qi gathering. Yi Xian's face instantly darkened. Everyone looked at Gu Qingfeng with disbelief. Challenging a 6th level? If you want to die, there are other ways. There's no need to humiliate yourself. But Gu Qingfeng didn't care. He said that if he came to register, he must have some confidence. Then he placed the token on the table, and reported his name. Gu Qingfeng, Qi Gathering Cultivation. 3rd level plant. Warden of the Demon Suppression Domain. That evening, Gu Qingfeng found a swift horse. He left the Demon Suppression Department and headed straight for Zhangjia village. There are still a few days until the competition. So Gu Qingfeng decided to find a suitable weapon. The Mu Wang sword mentioned by the Huai Tree Demon is the best choice at the moment. According to the Huai Tree Demon, the Mu Wang sword is located in the temple courtyard at the back of Zhangjia village. It is buried 3 feet deep near the old Huai tree. As expected, Gu Qingfeng had just pushed open the gate to the courtyard, when he saw a large locust tree. That was quite conspicuous. By the looks of it, in a few more years, it would probably become a locust tree demon. But that has nothing to do with Gu Qingfeng. After all, his goal is the Mu Wang sword. He immediately took out the tools he had prepared in advance, and began digging right on the spot. Before long, he had dug a several-meter deep pit. Suddenly, there was a clang. An old wooden box buried in the soil appeared in front of Gu Qingfeng. The man had come to the mountain god temple to dig for treasure. After some digging, they dug up a wooden box. At first, they thought it was the Lingding Wooden King's sword, but when they opened it, it was just an ordinary wooden sword, and it was the kind kids play with. Gu Qingfeng even wondered if this was something Huai Shujin made himself. So, he decided to give it a try. He casually swung it, and it landed right on the nearby shovel. Then, all I heard was a crack. The shovel was fine, but the sword broke. Looking at the intact shovel, Gu Qingfeng was dumbfounded. In his mind, he cursed the locust tree demon's ancestors for 18 generations. He decided to chop it down once he got back. But at that moment, a miraculous thing happened. The originally broken Mu Wang sword actually restored itself, and the broken section of the blade seemed to come to life. It directly burrowed into the ground. Immediately, countless vines stretched out from below. They all rushed towards Gu Qingfeng. Gu Qingfeng instinctively raised his sword to block. But he realized that these vines didn't seem to be targeting him, but the wooden king's sword in his hand instantly gathered countless strands of spiritual energy. Gu Qingfeng waved it casually. He slashed out countless sword energies. With just one strike, it pierced through the old locust tree in front of him. Seeing this, Gu Qingfeng was immediately delighted. So this is the correct way to use the wooden king's sword. According to the locust tree demon's words, the blood drop is enough to recognize the master. But just as Gu Qingfeng was about to cut his finger to drop blood for recognition, he found that his hand was perfectly fine. Instead, a large chunk was chipped off the Wood King sword. Gu Qingfeng was so angry that he started to lose his mind. He waved it around randomly. Not long after, Gu Qingfeng, exhausted from swinging, began to calmly think about how to drop blood for recognition. At that moment, some vines began to grow on the Wood King's sword at his feet. Just a moment. The roots and vines rushed towards Gu Qingfeng, and then directly burrowed into his body. He didn't even have time to react. It seems like it's about to recognize its master. So Gu Qingfeng recognized it was the Mu Wang sword sucking blood, but what he didn't know was that Lin Bin wasn't something that could just recognize a master casually. The master of Lin Bin needs to have corresponding strength to control Lin Bin. Otherwise, there is a possibility of being drained to death by Lin Bin during the recognition process. This became evident shortly afterward. When Gu Qingfeng opened his eyes again, he discovered that the Wood King's sword was still draining blood. He immediately sensed something was wrong. He gathered his strength in his left hand, and threatened the Wood King's sword in his right hand to stop at once. Otherwise, I'll just bury you. As soon as these words were spoken, King Mu's sword seemed to understand. It truly retracted those blood-sucking vines. Then it slowly returned to its original form. But at this moment, Gu Qingfeng was already covered in cold sweat. He couldn't help but exclaim how sinister this really was. What he didn't know was that generally, only a martial artist with internal energy can control such a thing, and it also has to supply enough for Ling Tong to absorb. But only with his great chi force cultivation. He can only rely on bloodsucking to provide for Ling Tong's absorption. If it weren't for his extraordinary physique, he would have long turned into a dried corpse. And after the Mu King's sword recognized its master successfully, Gu Qingfeng also saw his current state through the system. Mu King's sword, an Earth-grade superior spiritual weapon, due to long-term neglect in care, and being drained of spiritual energy by demons, it is now a low-grade spirit weapon. If the master takes good care of it, and nurtures it properly, it can be restored to a high-grade spirit weapon. Special skill, can sever regeneration. Having finished reading the system's introduction, Gu Qingfeng was also quite satisfied with Mu Wangjian. He thought to himself, the locust tree demon really didn't deceive me. Mu Wangjian is indeed impressive. As a reward, whenever I have the time, I'll find an opportunity to help the locust tree demon be free. After all, being locked in the demon suppression domain is also suffering. It would be better to use it as nourishment for Mu Wangjian. Suddenly, a light rain began to fall from the sky. Gu Qingfeng cursed under his breath. He quickly pushed open the worn temple door and walked in. As soon as he entered, a headless mountain deity statue caught his eye. According to the demon suppression manual, the mountain deity is worshipped by the masses, and gathers the grievances of the people. It possesses certain abilities to ward off evil and avoid disasters. Therefore, once the mountain god statue is broken, it signifies that a powerful demon that disregards the mountain god has appeared in this place. This is a great calamity and deep humiliation. But Gu Qingfeng is not afraid of this. He now has a system that allows him to grow stronger when attacked by demons. In fact, he is eager for stronger demons to come after them. That way, he can increase his strength even more. So, he directly lit a bonfire in the mountain god temple. Then he took out a sesame seed cake and started eating. But just at that moment, he heard footsteps coming from outside the door. Gu Qingfeng was immediately delighted. He didn't expect demons to show up so soon. But when the temple door opened, he was a bit disappointed. The one who came in was actually a beautiful girl wearing a veil. There are quite a few bodyguards nearby. It seems she must be a rich young lady. After she sat down, she shyly greeted Gu Qingfeng. This also made Gu Qingfeng develop a good impression of her. But just then, the bald butler directly threw out 2 taels of silver. This indicated that the mountain god temple was small. It's too crowded. Kid, take your silver and find somewhere else. Being humiliated for money, Gu Qingfeng would never agree to that. Besides, he was the one who found this place first. You want me to leave? Who do you think you are? Immediately, he demands a much higher price. You need to add more, 24 taels. The bald steward, hearing this, immediately darkened his expression. He revealed his true chi cultivation to threaten the kid. Don't get greedy. Seeing that the other party had true chi, Gu Qingfeng started to feel a bit intimidated. After all, if the opponent only had internal chi, he still has many cards to play. But this person is really angry. As the saying goes, those who recognize the times are the heroes. Maybe we should just forget it. But just then, that girl stepped forward to speak up for him. Clearly, he arrived first. How can we let him leave? The family is clumsy in their actions. Please don't hold it against us, young master. I didn't expect Gu Qingfeng to only see money in his eyes. It's no problem. But what about that 24 taels? Can't you reconsider? Or we can negotiate for 20 taels. The girl smiled sweetly. Young master, please don't joke around. It's the middle of the night now. It's still raining heavily outside. And there are demons around. Young master, it's better for you to stay with us in the temple. Upon hearing this, Gu Qingfeng could only thank them for their kindness. At the same time, he couldn't help but think that there was nothing to fear from demons. If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have been so pretentious. 2 taels of silver is better than nothing. Then the girl, to express her apology, even handed Gu Qingfeng a chicken leg. This scene made the nearby guards and butler grit their teeth. Their food was already scarce, and the young lady actually gave some to a stranger. Seeing the heated gazes of the others, Gu Qingfeng broke out in cold sweat. He hurriedly said the girl was kind-hearted. Her heart is truly kind. This gratitude will be remembered by me. By the way, may I ask how to address you, miss? The girl shyly revealed her name, Siwei. However, just as they were enjoying their conversation, a sudden scream from the guard came from outside. The man was originally waiting at the mountain god temple for the demons to arrive, but unexpectedly, the demons did not come. A girl willing to bring him chicken legs has arrived. Just when Gu Qingfeng and Siwei were having a great conversation, a sudden scream from the guards came from outside. The bald housekeeper signaled everyone to elevate their alertness, and ordered the other guards to ensure the young lady's safety. He then took his knife and walked towards the door. To his surprise, upon stepping outside, he found that all the guards outside had been killed, and there were no signs of a struggle at the scene. These people were all killed instantly. The bald butler knew this had to be the work of an expert, so he cautiously looked around. At that moment, a red-haired man appeared on the roof. It turned out he was the bone merchant of the blood demon sect. He had come to capture Sui. Inside, Sui heard that the target was actually him. It gave me quite a scare. I have no idea what the blood demon cult is. And who is this bone master? A nearby guard explained, Miss. The blood demon cult is a sect made up of dancers who worship demons. They're all lunatics. In their pursuit of immense power and long life, they eat people, attempting to turn himself into a demon. The cult members are neither human nor demon. Bai Gu Shanren is one of the experts among them, a newly advanced powerhouse. At the same time, he's also an heir to the corpse refining lineage. Hearing that the other side actually eats people, Sui was startled. His body went limp, and he fell backward. Fortunately, Gu Qingfeng appeared in time, and caught him by the waist, so he didn't fall. Being held in Gu Qingfeng's arms, Siwei couldn't help but blush slightly. He quickly changed the subject, asking the nearby guard why the blood demon sect wanted to capture him. The guard explained that Lord Si became the governor of Wudong County. It's because a major case involving the blood demon cult was cracked not long ago. The blood demon cult wants to capture the young lady. They probably want to use you to take revenge on the adults. Upon hearing this, Gu Qingfeng didn't expect that this Siwei was actually the daughter of the top official of Wudong County. But that's not the main point. The main point is whether these people from the blood demon cult are human or demons. So, Gu Qingfeng asked the guards at the door. Dealing with monsters and demons is my specialty, so I need to confirm whether the blood demon cult members are human or demons. I am the demon slayer from the town of Mose in Wudong County. Hearing Gu Qingfeng's confident words, made my thoughts seem to see hope again. That's great, young Master Gu. I didn't expect you to be from the Demon Suppression Office. I've heard that the Demon Suppression Division is renowned for slaying demons and exorcising evil. You must have a way to deal with the bone killer outside, right? But the guard beside them couldn't help but laugh. The young lady is only a spectator. She's at the lowest rank in demon hunting. Her cultivation level is just at the initiation stage. What could she possibly do? Wen Yan Siwei didn't blame Gu Qingfeng, but rather urged her to stay here with him and the others. It's better not to go out. But Gu Qingfeng insisted that they needn't worry so much. I just want to know whether the bone man is human or demon. The guard nearby provided an answer. They are half human, half demon, having transplanted demonic organs. Gu Qingfeng immediately asked the system if this half-demon could harm him. The system quickly replied that he becomes stronger when attacked by demons. The system does not become stronger when attacked by half-demons. Upon receiving this reply, Gu Qingfeng was completely stunned. The system is useless. What if those guards can't defeat the bone immortal? Wouldn't he be in trouble as well? If I had known, I wouldn't have said so much. At that moment, the temple door was suddenly pushed open by a gust of sinister wind. Countless zombies, made from the bones of the deceased, surged in. Due to the overwhelming number of zombies, a guard sacrificed his life force to use a secret technique to temporarily repel the horde. This gave another guard time to set up a barrier, but unexpectedly, there was actually a bronze-armored corpse among the horde. It had unexpectedly circled around behind Gu Qingfeng and the others. It attacked the four of them. At that critical moment, the guardian, burning its life force, exerted all its strength, and delivered a blow that severed the bronze-armored corpse's arm. Jia Jia was finally able to unleash her power, but that guardian had already swum into the lamp's storage. It began to gradually dissipate, but he had no regrets at all. As long as the young lady was safe, that was enough. Meanwhile, the bald butler outside was still engaged in fierce combat with the skeletal figure, but seeing the horde of corpses rush into the temple, he couldn't help but be a bit distracted. He was unable to focus on the battle with the skeletal figure. He also knows that the longer the time drags on, the more disadvantageous it will be for him, so he decided to resolve it quickly. He decisively unleashed his ultimate technique. His muscles bulged instantly. In the next second, a fierce glint flashed in his eyes. He swung his fist, as big as a sandbag, and smashed it down hard on the face of the demon master. But the demon master, hit by this punch, just sneered coldly, standing still in place, circulating his internal energy. Relying on this energy, he sent the bald steward flying. The bald steward was blasted away like a plow, flying over 10 meters, suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Looked at the bone master in disbelief. You've actually turned yourself into a silver-armored master. The bone master let out a strange laugh. This is the power of a zombie. What a perfect creature. Impervious to blades and spears. Incredibly strong. He only needs to consume fresh blood to live forever. After saying that, the white-boned immortal headed straight for the mountain god temple. Upon hearing this, Gu Qingfeng immediately caught the key point. The other party actually turned himself into a silver-armored master. Isn't this exactly his field of expertise? The man has a system where he gets stronger when attacked by demons. As long as it's a demon, they can't harm him in the slightest. And being attacked by demons can even make him stronger. Unexpectedly, this time he ran into a half-human, half-demon guy. This left him speechless. Fortunately, this demon was self-destructive. He actually trained himself to become a silver armor master. Now isn't that a perfect match for his specialty? So Gu Qingfeng quickly asked the system if zombies also counted as demons or ghosts. He received a definite answer from the system. Gu Qingfeng immediately felt confident. Today, what should be a victory over others? He directly walked out of the protective barrier, and faced the horde of zombies head-on. In just an instant, all the zombies lunged at him. Even the wooden king's sword in his hand fell to the ground with a clang. Seeing this, Si Wei couldn't help but shed tears. He thought Gu Qingfeng was trying to buy them time to escape. He went up to attract the zombie horde. Even the nearby guards couldn't help but praise young Master Gu. I just judged you with a petty man's heart. I will never forget your kindness. But in fact, Gu Qingfeng was perfectly fine. Instead, due to the zombie attacks, his defense points kept increasing. Then, he rolled towards the temple entrance along with the zombie prisoners. At this moment, the system alerted that the host's defense had broken through. The copper skin and iron bones evolved into the diamond body. As the system prompt finished, Gu Qingfeng merely spread his hands, instantly repelling the surrounding zombies. He appeared before the Bone Master like a god descending from the heavens. Seeing Gu Qingfeng's appearance, the bald butler was also a bit surprised, but he knew. The third level of Qi gathering couldn't possibly do this. being able to easily disguise as the third level of chi gathering and deceive him. If it's not someone stronger than his chi cultivation, then it must involve some secret technique. After a moment, the rain stopped. Gu Qingfeng slowly spoke. I'm just an ordinary traveler. During the journey, I was treated to roasted meat by Miss Sui. As a return gift, I have come to invite you to your death. I wonder if you could take your own life. This would save me a lot of trouble. As soon as these words were spoken, the entire room fell silent. The Bone Elder was thoroughly enraged. What are you showing off, kid? Let me commit suicide. I am the leader of the 4 guardians of the Blood Demon sect. The number 1 under the innate masters. No matter how ignorant you are, there should be a limit. With that said, he stepped forward, and landed a heavy punch on Gu Qingfeng's crown. After landing this punch, the White Bone Man felt steady. After all, since his debut, no one had been able to take his full force strike, without any defense. But at that moment, an impatient voice came from behind him. Seeing Gu Qingfeng completely unharmed, the White Bone Man was left stunned. I have been diligently honing myself for decades, to pursue power, even willingly becoming a monster. How could I be so weak? I couldn't even scratch the surface of my opponent. He incredulously asked Gu Qingfeng who he really was, but Gu Qingfeng only replied, "My name is Gu Qingfeng." He's a Rift Demon Slayer from Wudong County, Moose. Hearing this, the temple's thinker quietly asked the guard, "Didn't you say Rift Demon Slayers are weak?" The guard also replied quietly, "How could someone with this power be a Rift Demon Slayer? He's clearly a Heavenly Demon Slayer." Meanwhile, the Bone Master felt like Gu Qingfeng was joking with him, thinking he must be an old monster. With a youthful appearance, skilled in retaining his looks, he must be a natural-born master, without a doubt. He is definitely among the best of the masters. Otherwise, it would be impossible. But what does it matter if he is a natural-born master? What he aims to destroy today is the master. Thinking of this, the White Bone Master launched an even more intense attack against Gu Qingfeng. Yet Gu Qingfeng remained standing still. You took all the attacks. At the same time, the system prompts that you were attacked by the White Bone Master. Defense plus 100, 100 plus 100. As the smoke clears, the White Bone Master reveals a smug smile. It feels like this round is secure. But from behind came Gu Qingfeng's lazy voice. Got any other moves? Go ahead and show me. The Bone Master was startled upon hearing this. Then he gritted his teeth and began to gather strength. You're forcing me to do this. Gu Qingfeng, on the other hand, looked indifferent. He said, "Great. I hope you can entertain me more." Moments later, the Bone Master summoned a demonic bone flame, heading towards Gu Qingfeng with the Bone Demon Fire. Seeing that Gu Qingfeng actually dared to face my Bone Demon Fire, the Bone Master let out a strange laugh again. How can there be such an arrogant person in this world? Facing the Bone Demon Fire, he doesn't even dodge. No matter how high your cultivation is, or how strong your body is, what does it matter? My Bone Demon Fire. It is made from the bones of tens of thousands, and the bones of over 100 recently settled demons, refined for decades to form this, specially to comprehend the physical body and soul. Even if you are a congenital master, you will stay here today. But just ahead, in the Bone Demon Fire, that familiar voice has come again. So warm. Bai Gu Shangren was taken aback after hearing this. Then he quickly distanced himself from Gu Qingfeng, who had transformed into a ball of fire. At that moment, the system prompted that you were attacked by the Bone Demon Fire. Fire attribute plus 100 plus 100 plus 100. Congratulations, host, you have gained the innate ability to control fire. After a moment, accompanied by the gradual dissipating of the Bone Demon Fire, the system prompts again, you are under attack by the White Bone Demon Fire. Fire attribute plus 100 plus 100 plus 100. Congratulations, host. Your fire control ability has evolved into Desire Fire. After hearing the system prompt, Gu Qingfeng asked the White Bone Master again, anything else? The White Bone Master, upon hearing this, was completely stunned, and exclaimed, impossible. It's impossible for anyone to survive the Bone Demon Fire, and even now, he can't summon his Bone Demon Fire. He doesn't receive any response at all. This has been stripped away from him. Thinking of this, the Bone Master stepped back. He tried again, but it was still a futile effort. The White Bone Master couldn't believe that the White Bone Demon fire he had painstakingly cultivated for decades was taken away so easily. He shouted for Gu Qingfeng to give it back to him. Gu Qingfeng responded that he was quite reasonable. If you want me to give it back, I will. After saying that, he directly threw the White Bone Demon fire towards the White Bone Master. Then, there was a loud bang. The White Bone Master instantly disappeared into the sea of flames. A crimson pillar of fire shot into the sky. The intense wind even swept the bald butler into the air. He spun 2.5 times before slowly descending. Seeing that the timing was about right, Gu Qingfeng used his flame affinity to absorb the bone flame into his stomach. But this was bad news for the bald butler. He was blown away for another 2.5 spins. Afterwards, they looked at the charred remains of the Bone Elder. Gu Qingfeng felt a sharp pain in his heart. After all, the opponent was a powerful expert at the peak of true qi. There must have been countless treasures in his storage space. Rare herbs, spiritual artifacts, cultivation techniques, gold, silver. But they were all burned up by him, reduced to ashes by a single fire. Fortunately, the bald butler, in gratitude for saving his life, gave him a county commander token. From now on, if there are trivial matters in Wudong County, you can show this order. Those people will still give some respect to your family. Gu Qingfeng took the token and smiled, then I will respectfully obey. At this moment, the guard who had mocked Gu Qingfeng suddenly fell to his knees. I'm sorry, young master. I spoke disrespectfully just now. I offended you, my lord. But you, my lord, bore no grudge. You saved our lives. I am truly ashamed. Please punish me, my lord. Gu Qingfeng smiled slightly. Indeed, Wen Yan should be punished. Siwei, standing by, wanted to say something in defense, but was stopped by the bald-headed butler. Miss, you mustn't. Such a powerful figure cannot be offended by mere mortals. For a mere guard, it's not worth angering a grandmaster. I just didn't expect that. Gu Qingfeng would say, just fine you 24 taels. As soon as he said that, Sui's face once again blossomed with a smile. The guard hurriedly bowed and thanked him. Young master, I am in the wrong. Don't mention 24 taels. Even 240 taels would be fine. Hearing that the other party wanted to give even more, Gu Qingfeng's eyes instantly lit up. But before the guard could finish speaking, the bald-headed steward beside him interrupted directly. Nonsense, who do you think young Master Gu is? Do you think he'd care about your money? Young Master Gu has already shown great mercy. Why aren't you thanking him immediately? Hearing this, the guard was stunned for a moment. Then suddenly he realized. Yes, young Master Gu is a master-level expert. How could he be short on silver? To do it himself in advance would be insulting to the master. So he quickly started bowing again, and presented 24 taels of silver. This left Gu Qingfeng quite helpless. That's 240 taels. That's my salary for 10 years. Do I even want that? Why did you stop him? But even so, Gu Qingfeng still accepted the 24 taels of silver, then turned and said, let's consider this matter settled. You may rise. Seeing this, the bald steward couldn't help but sigh. As expected of a grandmaster-level expert, truly magnanimous. Gu Gongzi's character is indeed worthy of 5 grades of learning. Then the barbecue continued. Gu Qingfeng ate a drumstick, while chatting with Si Wei. At the same time, he watched the backs of several people, and couldn't help but sigh that this world is indeed realistic. In this matter, their attitude towards me was completely opposite. If I weren't strong today, I would probably be buried here. Then he looked at the 2 talents he had just obtained, the diamond body and the fire bath talent. As the name suggests, the diamond body means a body like diamond. Its defense is stronger than that of bronze skin and iron bones. It can defend against attacks of the same level and below. Specific data still needs to be tested in actual combat. The fire bath talent is not inferior to the diamond body. He excels at controlling all fire. Like the Flame Emperor, he can make all fire submit. When facing enemies who control flames, he has no fear. He can even seize control of their fire. He's the nemesis of fire attribute dancers or demons. After seeing the introduction of these 2 talents, Gu Qingfeng was shocked. He didn't expect the talents to be this powerful. Plus, the bone flame graciously provided by the bone sage. This time's gains are quite plentiful indeed. 2 days later, Gu Qingfeng and Siwei returned to Wudong County. Gu Qingfeng officially bid them farewell, then set off for Zenmosi to participate in the martial arts tournament. The man brought the Xuanji divine weapon for the competition, because he didn't want to win unfairly. He even made a special introduction before the match. I didn't expect to be mocked by my opponent. I was caught off guard by how quickly it happened. At this moment, the arena in Zenmos is already packed with people. These people are clearly here to watch the competition. Seated in front of the ring are the 5 judges for this match. With the sound of a gong, the first match officially begins. It's Yi Xian, who has a cultivation level of Qi gathering 7th layer, against Yi, who is at Qi gathering 9th layer. Unfortunately, although Yi Xian had the heart to challenge beyond his level, he did not have the fate of a protagonist. In the end, the gap in strength was too great, and he couldn't even last 3 moves before being kicked off the stage. This scene happened to be witnessed by Gu Qingfeng, who was coming to participate in the competition. He quickly helped him up. But Yi Xian wanted to advise Gu Qingfeng to give up the competition, because from the previous match, he has deeply realized the difficulty of challenging beyond his level. He has the cultivation of the 7th stage of Qi condensation, and was defeated in just 3 moves. But Gu Qingfeng is only at the 3rd stage of Qi condensation. He'll probably lose even more miserably. But Gu Qingfeng still said that a gentleman's word is as good as gold. How can one go back on what has been said? These words made Yi Xian feel even more guilty. He felt that he had harmed Gu Qingfeng. At this moment, the bell rang again. The second match begins. It's Gu Qingfeng, who is at the 3rd level of Qi gathering, against Lin Xiao, who is at the 9th level of Qi gathering. Seeing that Gu Qingfeng was indeed only at the 3rd level of Qi gathering, Lin Xiao felt that this round was secure. Hitting him is basically no different from hitting Song Fun. So he pretentiously asked Gu Qingfeng to show his weapon. But Gu Qingfeng saw the sword hanging at his waist, and was indeed a bit puzzled. "Don't you need a weapon?" Lin Xiao stood confidently with his hands on his hips. With a confident smile, he said, "You don't need a sword to deal with you." But Gu Qingfeng still wanted to get the ugly words out first. "That won't do. You're unarmed. If I win you with a weapon, you'll definitely say I won unfairly." Ling Xiao scoffed, "Feel free to use any weapon. If you can make me move my feet even a little, I'll consider it a loss for me. I absolutely won't say you won unfairly." The sword said the same thing. Gu Qingfeng was also unceremonious. Directly drawing the wooden king sword from his waist, he began introducing it loudly. This sword is 3 feet 3 inches long, 1 inch 8/10 wide, weighs 4 taels and 5 qian, made entirely of wood. It was crafted from the form of a 1,000-year-old willow from the extreme north. Took 18 years to complete. It is called the Mu King sword. It's just a low-quality wooden sword. Please appreciate it, my friend. Once these words were spoken, they immediately sparked a burst of laughter from the audience below. This kid is quite the talent. A broken wooden sword is deemed low quality. No wonder this kid, at just the 3rd level of energy gathering, dares to participate in the competition. It turns out he's a lunatic. Gu Qingfeng, holding his sword, continued to ask, "Brother, I'm using a mysterious spiritual weapon. You wouldn't say I'm not fighting fairly, would you?" Lin Xiao replied, quite speechless, "Of course not." Then Gu Qingfeng didn't hold back. He directly lunged at him with a sword. However, Lin Xiao easily caught it. He further mocked, "Only children play with wooden swords. Stop your foolish antics." With that, he broke the wooden king's sword in his hand. Yet Gu Qingfeng's expression remained unchanged. He just silently watched. The next second, a cut appeared on Lin Xiao's hand. The sharp pain forced him to loosen his grip, and the piece of the wooden king's sword he had just broken began to emit a faint blue glow at that moment. It was just a moment. Countless vines shot up from beneath his feet. Before he could react, he was tied up tightly. It was only at this moment that he realized that everything Gu Qingfeng said was true. This was indeed a mystical spiritual weapon. It turned out the fool was actually himself. But now it's too late to regret. Facing such a mysterious spirit weapon, how could he, with just his gathered energy at the 9th level, escape? Therefore, no matter how he struggles, these vines will only tighten their grip, Until Ling Xiao coughs up blood, Gu Qingfeng will finally let go. Then he said, "Thank you for your mercy." But Lin Xiao, with reddened eyes, said to Gu Qingfeng, "You didn't win fairly." To this, Gu Qingfeng just smiled slightly. "Brother, you were the one who told me to use the Xuanji spirit weapon. How can you say I didn't win fairly? That's bullshit. Who the hell knew that a wooden sword would be a Xuanji spirit weapon?" But I clearly explained the details of the Wooden King's sword before the duel. He also told you that he is the Xuanji spiritual weapon. Everyone present heard it. You can't be dishonest. But Lin Xiao still expressed his discontent. Let Gu Qingfeng have the guts to face Lin Bing without him. However, Gu Qingfeng is not foolish. While wielding the King Mu sword, he called for a few judges to evaluate the duel. It seems there's no rule against using Lin Bing. As a one-eyed female ninja and judge, Wen Yan couldn't help but laugh heartily. "I like this kid, don't you agree?" He Fenghua, as the chief judge, nodded. There really are no rules. Thus, the outcome of this match was no longer in doubt. The winner of this contest is Gu Qingfeng. But after Gu Qingfeng helped Lin Xiao break free, Lin Xiao called out to him. He wanted to have another match. At that moment, He Fenghua slammed the table and stood up. He reprimanded, "Enough. Lin Xiao lost, he lost. Let it go," Lin Xiao said helplessly. He could only obediently step back. But afterward, Gu Qingfeng had just left the martial arts arena. When he was called back by He Fenghua, he expressed his willingness to buy his spiritual weapon for 2,000 taels of gold. But Gu Qingfeng was no fool. The Mu Wang sword was once a low-grade spiritual weapon. Its value is incalculable. 2,000 taels wouldn't even buy a beggar's meal. So he used the excuse that the Mu King's sword was a family heirloom, and said he wouldn't sell it, brushing it off. When Yanhe Fenghua's expression suddenly changed, just as he was about to make things difficult for Gu Qingfeng, a cheerful female voice came from behind. "He Fenghua, if you keep this up, I've already taught that kid from earlier with the 4-character challenge a lesson. What's his name, Lin something? Zhenmoc strictly prohibits violence against colleagues. I didn't expect him to be so ignorant. The next duel is about to begin. Let's hurry back." Wen Yan and Fenghua had no choice but to temporarily give up. They pretended to act nonchalant and left with the one-eyed woman. But inside, they were already planning how to make Gu Qingfeng obediently hand over Lin Bing. Not long after, Gu Qingfeng, back in the room, she planned to begin cultivating. Although she had the system shortly after arriving, she had never cultivated before. But even without relying on cultivation to enhance her strength, simply raising her level could avoid a lot of trouble. After all, people here value cultivation levels greatly, and a higher level can also extend one's lifespan. Thinking of this, Gu Qingfeng began to practice diligently. The technique he practiced was called Pure Yang Skill. It is the fundamental cultivation technique of Zenmosi. All demon slayers basically use this as their foundation. Most demons are of the Yin attribute, so demon slayers must cultivate Yang attribute techniques to better restrain the demons. Gu Qingfeng was sitting cross-legged. He closed his eyes and began absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Moments later, a warm current started gathering in his dantian. Just like that, without realizing it, Gu Qingfeng actually fell asleep. By the time he woke up, it was already the next day. He couldn't help but sigh. It's not that I'm not trying hard. It's just that cultivation is too boring and tedious. So, he placed his hopes on the system once again. He asked the system why it couldn't directly boost his cultivation level. Every time, it just adds some strange attributes, either defense or strength. Does it want me to become a musclehead? Unexpectedly, the system replied that because the host has no cultivation, this system cannot increase your cultivation. Seeing this response, Gu Qingfeng's face was suddenly filled with frustration. "System, you can't just speak nonsense. I clearly have cultivation. What's wrong with being at the Gathering Qi level 3? But the system stated, the Gathering Qi stage is merely about using the body to store the world's energy. It doesn't count as true cultivation. Only when the host reaches the internal Qi stage, when refining the stored vital energy in the body into a unique internal energy, one can be considered to have some cultivation. Only then can this system help the host increase their cultivation, increase internal energy." Seeing this response, Gu Qingfeng couldn't help but feel a bit disappointed and asked if the system could be more lenient. But he was met with the system's ruthless rejection. This left Gu Qingfeng feeling somewhat helpless. After all, with his cultivation, it would take ages for him to reach that level. But thinking about it, never mind. The time has come. Let's go participate in the second match. This man clearly only has the cultivation of a third-tier Qi gathering. Yet he possesses a legendary mystical weapon. Therefore, as soon as he arrived at the arena, he was surrounded by a crowd. They all came forward to ask him about the Mu Wang sword. In the Demon Suppression Division, ordinary soldiers typically use only standard weapons for demon elimination. Only at the level of Xian-class demon eliminators can one possibly use a royal-grade spirit weapon. Only Earth-class demon eliminators possess mysterious spirit weapons. There is only one Earth-grade spirit weapon in the entire Demon Suppression Division, and it is currently in the hands of Tian-class demon eliminator Qi Qianren. But Gu Qingfeng is just a gap-level demon historian, and has only attained the cultivation of Qi gathering level 3. He has acquired a mystical weapon. How could that not make everyone envious? His opponent today is still a man at the 9th level of Qi gathering. However, even though his cultivation is far superior to Gu Qingfeng's, the man still feels he has little chance against the mystical weapon, so he decides to strike first. He plans to finish Gu Qingfeng off before he can use his weapon. He immediately charges at Gu Qingfeng with his blade drawn. However, just as his blade was about to strike Gu Qingfeng, the vines formed by the Wood King's sword instantly wove into a wooden shield. The hardness was so strong that his long knife couldn't even leave a scratch. Helpless, he could only retreat to put some distance between himself and Gu Qingfeng. Upon landing, he saw Gu Qingfeng securely protected. The man was momentarily at a loss as to how to proceed, but Gu Qingfeng wasn't going to give him any time to think. Immediately, he controlled the vines to entangle the man. The intestines twisted violently. The long knife in the man's hand instantly slipped away. Immediately, countless vines crazily spread toward the man. From time to time, vines would suddenly burst out from the ground, catching him off guard. Seeing that it was almost over, Gu Qingfeng prepared to return the knife to the other party, and end the match. But unexpectedly, the opponent had no sense of honor. At that moment, they launched a sneak attack. As a result, Gu Qingfeng used vines to directly whip them off. Seeing this scene, the audience fell silent, and in the next match, Gu Qingfeng couldn't even be bothered to say anything. He simply controlled the vines to tie up his opponent. Then the opponent was sent off the stage. It really doesn't cause much harm, but it's extremely insulting. The live audience also looked quite displeased. Then the contemptuous old man proposed to discuss with Gu Qingfeng. As long as Gu Qingfeng doesn't use Ling Bing, he will suppress his cultivation to the 3rd level of Qi. Then they can have a fair match. But before he could finish speaking, the vines controlled by Gu Qingfeng had already lashed out, directly whipping him away. Watching the old man fly off into the distance, Gu Qingfeng belatedly asked, "What did he just say?" "The wind was too strong, I didn't hear clearly." And after this match, Gu Qingfeng successfully entered the semi-finals. But it was met with the contestants' compassionate resistance. They all went to He Fenghua to complain that Gu Qingfeng's work was blatantly obvious. He won by relying on Ling Bing. Then what's the point of this competition? He Fenghua also planned to use this as a pretext, so he casually gave a couple of instructions. Then he sent Steward Huang to find Gu Qingfeng. Early the next morning, Gu Qingfeng was cultivating in the room. Steward Huang came to find him. He got straight to the point about being jointly resisted by other apprentice demon slayers and dancers. Now the matter has been reported to Lord He. But Lord He is willing to help you. As long as you are willing to sell the Mu Wang sword to Lord He, Lord He is naturally willing to help you resolve the current crisis. Now will Lord He still allow you to continue using the Mu King's sword? Wait until you attain the position of yellow rank junior devil envoy. Then give the Mu King's sword to Lord He. This way, not only will you gain a large sum of money, but also the position of yellow rank junior devil envoy and Lord He's favor. Facing the threats and enticements of the royal steward, Gu Qingfeng directly asked, "What if I insist on not selling it to you?" Wang Ji shrugged helplessly. "During the competition, you will be prohibited from using the Mu Wang sword. You'll be eliminated in the top 4. You won't have the chance to become the demon slayer. It will also annoy Lord He. You should weigh the pros and cons for yourself. But Gu Qingfeng was not buying it at all. He directly chose to dismiss him. Please go back and tell Lord He. The Mu King's sword is a family heirloom. It's not for sale. Take care, no need to see you off. The emperor merely snorted coldly. The foolish man, unaware of the situation, participated in the competition with a magical weapon. Relying on the magical weapon to summon vines, he easily crushed his opponents and entered the top 4. Yet, he faced pity and resistance from the other contestants because of this. But what surprised everyone was that he used the spirit weapon because he didn't want his opponent to lose too badly. At this moment, the arena was bustling with voices, and everyone was sighing for Gu Qingfeng's next opponent. It turned out this person's name was Hu Banqing, one of the most promising candidates to take first place. He had once slain the Iron Armor Master with his cultivation at the 9th level of Qi Gathering. This strength was already infinitely close to inner strength. It can be said that it's half of the internal beginning, but unfortunately, he ran into Gu Qingfeng just as the competition was about to begin. Hu Banqing suddenly clasped his hands and addressed the judges. Judges, I have something to say. Gu Qingfeng has shamelessly exploited the loopholes in the competition rules, cheating openly. It is disgraceful. This competition was meant to select the most powerful person, one who can command respect, to serve as the demon slayer of the Imperial Street. But this person, aside from relying on Lin Bing, has no strength to speak of. His character is also shameless. He can't earn the respect of others. Therefore, I would like to request the judges to revoke Gu Qingfeng's qualification to use Lin Bing, so that the competition remains fair. What a way to use classical language, it's just like borrowing a donkey down the slope. I asked Gu Qingfeng if he had anything to say. Unexpectedly, Gu Qingfeng replied that using spiritual weapons was just because he was afraid of undermining your confidence. You all think I can only win with Lin Bing's help. What if I don't rely on Lin Bing? As soon as he said this, the audience burst into laughter. Did I hear that wrong? This kid thinks he can win without Lin Bing. Isn't it because he relied on Lin Bing to defeat a few Qi masters at the 9th level? Now he thinks he can win with his own strength? Without Lin Bing, what do you even amount to? So shameless. Facing the mocking and taunting of the audience, Gu Qingfeng sheathed the Mu King sword. He smiled confidently, saying he originally wanted to interact with you as an ordinary person, but all he got in return was indifference and ridicule. Alright, I won't pretend anymore. I'm laying it all out. In fact, I've already gathered all my energy and am invincible. I don't need the Ling sword to win. Even Gu Qingfeng said so. So it was only natural that He Fenghua's qualification to use the Ling sword was revoked. Then the competition began. Hu Banqing faced Gu Qingfeng, who only had 3 levels of energy. He looked utterly disdainful. He didn't even bother to use a weapon. He simply stuck the long knife into the ground. He raised his fist and swung it at Gu Qingfeng. With a loud bang, this punch landed heavily on Gu Qingfeng's head. But in the next second, Hu Banqing's hand suddenly made a cracking sound. Immediately afterward, a piercing scream erupted. Seeing this scene, He Fenghua was shocked and stood up from his seat. He couldn't believe that Gu Qingfeng had actually mastered the iron cloth shirt. Beside him, the one-eyed woman couldn't help but marvel, never expecting that there truly were geniuses in the world who cultivated external skills. Immediately, the audience erupted in excitement. They all exclaimed in disbelief. Gu Qingfeng is at the 3rd level of Qi Gathering. How could he take a punch from someone at the 9th level of Qi Gathering, and even shatter it? He has perfected the iron shirt technique. No wonder he could withstand a punch from Hu Banqing. Is the iron shirt really that strong? He can actually challenge someone 6 levels higher. No way, I have to go back and train too. What's the point of getting stronger? I've practiced iron shirt before. It's just a grueling skill. Without decades of practice, it's impossible to master. At this moment, Hu Banqing finally recovered from the pain of his broken bones. He pulled out the long knife that had just been stabbed into the ground. Then he swung it toward Gu Qingfeng again. However, Gu Qingfeng easily blocked it with his bare hands. Then he gently applied force with one hand. The long knife snapped in response. Gu Qingfeng then calmly said, "Do you realize the gap between us now? I didn't want to use my true strength. I was just afraid of hurting your confidence. Now you've been defeated by a bare-handed dancer with 3 levels of qi. How do you plan to comfort yourself? Facing the monstrous Gu Qingfeng, Hu Banqing shows fear on his face. But he stubbornly says he hasn't lost. You're just physically strong. If you want to win, you still have a long way to go. And Gu Qingfeng can't be bothered to argue with him. He pressed his hand directly on his head. Then he flipped his hand and made his face have a close contact with the ground. The impact even made the ground dent. Hu Banqing also fainted directly. Meanwhile, Gu Qingfeng brushed off the dust from his clothes. Smiling, he asked the adult to look straight ahead. Announce the results. With this, Gu Qingfeng easily won the match once again. And he crushed his opponents with absolute strength. But after Gu Qingfeng left the scene, his next opponent, Bai Meiming, looked at his back, and felt a deep sense of despair. He wasn't even sure if his gun could pierce through Gu Qingfeng's skin. And this scene was also seen by He Fenghua. Afterward, he approached Bai Meiming. Ask him if he has confidence to defeat Gu Qingfeng in tomorrow's duel. Bai Meiming helplessly says that for a spearman, mentality is key. What matters is to thrust forward with no hesitation. There can't be even a hint of doubt. As for fear, I don't have the mood for that anymore. It's impossible for me to pierce through Gu Qingfeng's iron cloth. Unexpectedly, He Fenghua pulls out a spear and says, "What about with me?" This spear is called Taunt. It is an imperial artifact of low rank that I obtained by chance in my early years. I have never used it in front of others. Wen Yen Beima can't help but feel somewhat puzzled. My lord, what does this mean? He Fenghua coldly shouted that Gu Qingfeng is eccentric and violent. If he becomes the demon slayer of the Imperial Street, it would be anything but a good thing for the common people. That is why I specially came to lend you a hand. With this gun, you will definitely break Gu Qingfeng's iron cloth shirt. Wen Yen Beima Ming hurriedly cupped his fists in thanks. At the same time, he couldn't help but marvel at how this time truly took a turn for the better. Not only did he have the chance to become the royal-level demon slayer, he even gained Lord He's recognition. However, he quickly realized something was off. Wasn't the use of spirit weapons already prohibited in this competition? Isn't he openly violating the rules? But He Fenghua just gave a cold laugh. Who said that using Lingbing is forbidden in this competition? It's only prohibited for Gu Qingfeng to use Lingbing. And it was Gu Qingfeng himself who promised not to use Lingbing. What does this have to do with you, Bai Meiming? Hearing this, Bai Meiming couldn't help but hesitate. He knew that He Fenghua was trying to make him cheat. After all, he's the referee. As long as he agrees, the duel can proceed smoothly, but he will bear much criticism. However, compared to becoming the future demon-slaying hero, what's a bit of reputation worth? So after much inner struggle, Beima Ming still agreed. The man simply refused to sell his mysterious spiritual weapon. He was targeted by the main referee. Not only did he abuse his power to prevent him from using his spiritual weapon, but he also secretly lent his own spiritual weapon to his opponent. He intended to break through his iron shirt. The next day, Gu Qingfeng arrived at the martial arts arena on time for the competition. As soon as he stepped onto the stage, he became the focus of everyone's attention. After all, in yesterday's match, he had jumped 6 levels to defeat his opponent. An ordinary dancer can become a genius by challenging 1 level higher. Challenging 2 levels higher makes one an unparalleled genius. However, he managed to advance a full 6 levels through training in the iron shirt technique. If that's not a prodigy, what is? As a result, many people decided to practice the iron shirt technique. Now, it's impossible to borrow the iron shirt technique from the library. So, as soon as Gu Qingfeng took the stage, he asked Bai Meiming if he wanted to follow the procedure and concede directly. Unexpectedly, Bai Meiming replied, Gu Qingfeng, don't be arrogant. I know you think you're invincible in defense, but I'm not someone to be trifled with either. I have my own unique gun technique. Its power is astonishing. It can break through anything. If you can take just 1 shot from me, I'll concede defeat. How does he seem so confident? Gu Qingfeng didn't waste any words. He directly opened his clothes and told him to walk through the process. I'm afraid you might tear my clothes this time. Seeing this, Bai Meiming's heart instantly bloomed with joy, but Gu Qingfeng's expression instantly darkened. He suspected that this guy might have some special fetish. Otherwise, why would he stare at his pectoral muscles for so long? What does it mean to give a thumbs up with such excitement? Then the competition officially began. Bai Ma Ming swung his weapon mockingly. No more small talk. He lunged directly at Gu Qingfeng with his spear. This action instantly drew the audience's disdain. They clearly restricted Gu Qingfeng from using his spiritual weapon, yet allowed Bai Ma Ming to use his. That's really despicable. With a loud bang accompanied by the wind, flames suddenly erupted on the stage. Bai Meiming, holding a long spear, showed a hint of a cold smile. It felt like this round was secure. But as the flames dispersed, Gu Qingfeng appeared before him, unscathed. His entire body was enveloped in a golden bell. The audience below gasped in astonishment. This is the perfected golden bell shield. No one expected Gu Qingfeng not only mastered the iron cloth technique, but also trained in the golden bell shield. No wonder he could withstand Lin Bing. A perfected golden bell shield combined with a perfected iron cloth makes his body formidable enough to rival Huang Ji's Lin Bing. There really are geniuses in this world who cultivate external skills. However, Gu Qingfeng merely said lightly, "So this is what you call your self-created spear technique, holding a spirit weapon. Even if you've created it yourself, you are still quite talented." Bai Ma Ming was in disbelief. Then he lunged forward with the spear. But the spear struck Gu Qingfeng's golden bell shield. But it was impossible to move forward even a bit. At this moment, Gu Qingfeng impatiently asked, "Are you enjoying poking me?" Bai Meiming looked at Gu Qingfeng in sheer terror. This look made Gu Qingfeng feel quite annoyed. "Why are you staring at me like that?" Unexpectedly, Bai Meiming really seemed to have misunderstood something. He suspected that Gu Qingfeng had been guiding him to attack his chest with words all along. There must be something wrong with his chest. So, Bai Meiming decided to poke a different spot. The belly button was the best choice. Thinking of this, Bai Ma Ming thrust his spear again. But Gu Qingfeng easily caught the tip with 2 fingers, stopping it completely. He was totally in control. Gu Qingfeng was also enraged by the angle of that thrust. "Where were you aiming? So rude." With that, Gu Qingfeng applied a bit more force. He seized the long spear from the hands of the white horse Ming. Then he casually tossed it behind him. The spear flew out of the training ground. Seeing this scene, the spectators had no interest in watching the match anymore. They all rushed out to retrieve the spear. Meanwhile, He Fenghua on the stage had a gloomy expression. Because that spear was his. The Mu King's sword is still not in hand. If mockery gets picked up by someone else, it would be a total loss. So, he quickly found an excuse and left the arena. At this moment, a smug expression appeared on Bai Ma Ming's face on the stage. "I knew it. It really is your chest that's the problem. Otherwise, why wouldn't you let me poke anywhere else?" Gu Qingfeng was speechless. "Poke, poke, poke, and you'll know to poke. I'm a man, you know. Didn't I tell you before the duel? Not to ruin my clothes?" After saying that, Gu Qingfeng directly turned Bai Meiming into a pig's head. Only then did Bai Meiming realize. It turns out Gu Qingfeng didn't let himself poke his stomach. He was really afraid of tearing his clothes. Then, Gu Qingfeng, who was tired from fighting, slowly got up. But he was held down by Bai Meiming, who was kneeling on the ground. Suddenly, there was a tearing sound. In the end, the clothes were still torn. Seeing that things were getting serious, Bai Meiming was about to shout for surrender. Gu Qingfeng's fist had already struck. It directly sent him flying. The referee then announced Gu Qingfeng as the winner of the match. He earned the position of Huang-level exorcist. Wang Ji and the one-eyed woman also awarded him Huang-level exorcist standard equipment. These include the Flame Spirit Blade and the Exorcist Order. Although the Flame Spirit Blade is not a spirit weapon, but it is of superior quality. It is forged from refined adamantine. Engraved on it are small formations. It possesses a certain lethality against demons. The demon exorcising order appears to be a token of identity, but internally, it is inscribed with formations. It can capture the death aura of demons. Whenever the holder kills a demon, the exorcism order will record information. It can be understood as a merit recorder. After handing things over to Gu Qingfeng, the one-eyed woman also found an excuse to leave first, passing the subsequent matters to Steward Huang. Thus, Steward Huang had no choice but to take on the task of guiding. He took Gu Qingfeng to collect the promotion benefits. After becoming an imperial chef demon, he could receive a cultivation pill. You can also go to the library pavilion and choose a martial skill. But Gu Qingfeng was also visiting the second floor of the library pavilion for the first time, faced with a vast array of techniques. He didn't know which one to pick, so he simply closed his eyes and decided to randomly grab one, leaving it to luck. The man, just because of a nose problem, was unexpectedly entrusted with a great responsibility by his superior. He needs to take him to the bathroom to do something inappropriate. At this moment, Gu Qingfeng was selecting books on the second floor of the library. After closing his eyes for a moment, he finally had a feeling. He opened his eyes, but when the librarian saw the book he was holding, he advised him to choose another one, because that book was very dangerous. It turns out the technique Gu Qingfeng is holding is called the Solar Flame Sword. It's an extremely dangerous sword technique. It harnesses the solar fire energy within the body. It can harm the user before harming the enemy. Moreover, it requires exceptional control. A single mistake could result in self-immolation. Therefore, the overseer advises Gu Qingfeng to reconsider. Perhaps he should choose a weapon designed specifically to slay demons. There's nothing to be ashamed of. What matters is whether it suits you. But it's better if he doesn't say anything. Once he says it, Gu Qingfeng can no longer let go of this cultivation method. He was so excited that he couldn't help but tremble all over. Because the characteristics of this cultivation method are simply perfect for him. He has an extremely strong physique and the talent for fire. This sword technique is simply meant for him now. If the Bone Demon Fire can combine with this one character Funyang sword, it would be like having another trump card. Thus, Gu Qingfeng immediately decided to take this one. He also planned to go to the first floor to get the capital bell cover. The administrator hurriedly advised him to stay calm. This technique is really dangerous. But Gu Qingfeng confidently expressed that no hardship was enough to prove success. Do you believe in fate? It chose me. If there can only be one person in the Dian dynasty who can master this technique, it must be me. After Gu Qingfeng said this, he did not offer any further explanation, and directly walked out of the library. After all, he had already been quite tactful. I can't just tell the other person that I've cheated. After seeing Gu Qingfeng off, the administrator couldn't help but let out a sigh for Gu Qingfeng. I have harmed you. Just as Gu Qingfeng was leaving the scripture pavilion, he happened to run into Huang Zhisher. Seeing Gu Qingfeng holding the original bell cover, Huang Zhisher couldn't help but be puzzled as to why he was taking this technique. Haven't you already mastered the golden bell shield? Gu Qingfeng awkwardly scratched his head. Then he quoted a sage's saying, reviewing the old allows one to know the new. Repeated honing is necessary to reach the peak. He dodged the question. But this actually touched Huang Zhi's heart. He didn't expect that such a simple yet profound approach to martial arts would be casually shared by Gu Qingfeng. It truly impressed him. So, on the way back to report, Huang Zhi decided quietly in his heart that as long as Lord He did not give a clear order, he would never make things difficult for Gu Qingfeng. But when he was about to enter the mansion to report, he found He Fenghua standing outside the mansion, with a veil on her face. There was no intention of going in at all. After some inquiries, I learned that it turned out that He Fenghua discovered the whereabouts of Chao Feng were actually in his own house, and, coincidentally, he was thrown into the latrine. Ling Ding is incredibly sharp. It instantly pierced to the bottom of the latrine. He Fenghua had just had someone clean the yard, but now it still has a bit of a smell. Coincidentally, he heard that Huang Zhi has a poor sense of smell. Seeing him today, it's indeed the case. It also happens to be useful. This task is meant for him. So He Fenghua brought Deacon Huang to the bottom of the cesspool, to help him pick it up. Spirit soldier taunts. Deacon Huang watched these defenses. He couldn't help but break into a cold sweat. He felt his sense of smell subtly returning. It was a bit nauseating, but he still jumped down to retrieve it. Meanwhile, Gu Qingfeng was also in the room, refining the golden bell shield to great success. Next, I need to practice the Funyang sword. However, if I practice here and accidentally burn the house down, I can't afford to pay for it. It's better to practice in the outskirts. Not long after, Gu Qingfeng arrived in the outskirts of Wudong County. The first step to practicing the Funyang sword is to be exposed to the sun for a long time, using a specific method to absorb the sun's fiery energy. Let the fire of the sun infuse one's inner energy. change the nature of the inner energy, refine, compress, and condense the inner energy infused with the sun's fire and warm it with oxygen, until it bursts like fire. But Gu Qingfeng only had a cultivation level of gathering energy at the third stage. Where would he get the inner energy? So he chose to skip directly. He looked at the second step. According to the method in the manual, gather the fiery explosive inner energy onto the sword, and swing it using a specific technique. Then compress, ignite, and detonate it. If there's not a high level of control, you might not even have time to swing the sword before it backfires and you self-ignite. Seeing this, Gu Qingfeng couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. What is this compressed detonation thing? Suddenly, he thought of using the bone demon flame to compress and detonate it. He immediately shouted, "Sword, come!" Summoning the King of Wood sword. He planned to try unleashing the bone demon flame using the burning lamb sword technique. As long as it succeeded, this weapon would definitely be much stronger and faster than just throwing the bone demon flame. After a series of attempts, Gu Qingfeng successfully compressed the bone demon fire onto the Wood King sword. It seemed like it wasn't too difficult, but when he confidently swung the sword, the bone demon fire on the sword suddenly floated upwards. Then it exploded on the spot, directly scorching him. The man was full of confidence as he practiced the newly acquired martial skill. I didn't expect that with a single swing of the sword, the flames would actually float right above my head. It directly exploded on the spot, leaving me charred on the outside and tender on the inside. This was indeed a bit too eager for success. However, Gu Qingfeng didn't lose heart. He tried the technique from the Fenyang sword once more. The result, of course, was predictably deceptive. After failing repeatedly more than 10 times, Gu Qingfeng finally succeeded in unleashing a sword aura. The highly condensed sword aura split a small mountain in half, yet its power remained undiminished. Instead, it flew towards Wudong County. Then, there was a loud boom. Suddenly, the sky above Wudong County was ablaze. The dazzling firelight illuminated the area below as if it were daylight. And Gu Qingfeng, who had swung this sword, finally understood the characteristic of the character, Fun, in the Yang sword. It turns out to be highly compressed and condensed, finally detonating it. However, upon seeing that the sword energy was directed towards Wudong County, he immediately realized something was wrong. What if the previous sword energy explodes and affects others? Realizing this, Gu Qingfeng quickly took off running. Not long after he left, a group of people arrived here. The leader was Qianduan, the celestial tier demon slayer from Mo's, Wudong County. Upon arriving at the scene, he sensed the aura of the bone demon fire. The method of refining bone demon fire is unique to the blood demon sect. Moreover, the sword marks on the ground are clearly caused by a combination of the bone demon fire and sword techniques. Therefore, he deduces that the person who wielded this sword must be a master of swordsmanship and fire control from the blood demon sect. Furthermore, if he is not mistaken about this sword technique, it should be the one-character burning sun sword of the Demon Suppression Division. This also means that the opponent has been to the Demon Suppression Division, or there are spies within the Demon Suppression Division. The greatest enemy of the Blood Demon sect is the Demon Suppression Division, so this could be a signal they released to the Demon Suppression Division. He can also roughly guess their intention. This time, the Blood Demon cult sent an innate expert. Late at night, they swung a sword in the outskirts of Wudong County, but no one was harmed. They only destroyed a mountain. This was undoubtedly a provocation against the Demon Suppression Division, and they chose the place he patrolled today. So, Li Qianren speculated, in addition to demonstrating against him, there must also be hidden figures involved. Today, the opponent specifically used the one-character Fenyang sword. This undoubtedly indicates that the opponent has placed spies in the Zhenhua Temple. They also know the secret of the one-character Fenyang sword. Thus, the opponent's purpose is quite clear. It is the one-character Zhu Yin sword. The one-character Zhu Yin sword is the one-character Fenyang sword from the Earth-level Zhongping martial era and the Xuanji Zhongping martial era. They all come from the Celestial Extremity Martial Records Cross-Saying sword, but they are all incomplete fragments. They must be used together. These two sword techniques require 1,000 heights of cultivation. Even if combined, they still lack a part. With these two incomplete scrolls, it is simply impossible to reproduce the cross-saying sword. So he guessed that the blood demon sect's aggressive probing was meant to throw him off balance, forcing him to assign more people to guard the bamboo shadow sword, thus revealing the location where the sword is hidden. But instead, it told him that the original hiding place was safe, no need to relocate, since the enemy had already come knocking. Then he decided to turn the tables, using the bamboo shadow sword technique to lure the enemy out, and set up a trap to ensnare them. Then use the heaven's net to finish them off. This way, not only can he eliminate a key figure of the blood demon sect, but if the enemy has other missing scrolls, he can complete the heavenly secrets technique, killing two birds with one stone. But this matter still needs to be carefully considered, so he decided to consult with 3 colleagues first, and just as he was walking downstairs, he brushed past the culprit, Gu Qingfeng. They barely noticed each other. Afterward, Gu Qingfeng went to the lounge. Seeing that everyone was safe, he let out a sigh of relief. Today's experiment was a complete success. He didn't expect it either. The combination of the Yanji Fun Yang sword and the Bone Demon Fire is so powerful. If this move is used in the future, it could hurt the wrong people. I fear it will lead to endless trouble. But that last sword strike today, it was only by chance that he was able to strike. If he had another chance, he might not be able to do it again. It seems that a lot of practice is still needed to perform steadily and reduce unexpected occurrences. But this sword strike was too powerful. The commotion was too great. There's no way to practice secretly. Suddenly, Gu Qingsong thought of something. Since it's all about compressing and nurturing the flames until they explode like fire, maybe I can try using ordinary flames. As long as I replace the Bone Demon Fire with ordinary flames, the power won't be as great. And what I'm practicing is to combine the fire manipulation ability with the Burning Ocean Sword. He has a talent for fire manipulation. He can control any flame. To him, ordinary fire and demonic bone fire are no different. At this moment, the most important thing is that when using the Burning Ocean Sword again, no one should notice anything unusual. With that in mind, Gu Qingfeng pulled out a primordial pill from his pocket. This is the elixir needed for inner energy practitioners. Gathering energy is simply unable to absorb too much. So Gu Qingfeng hesitated whether to take it. If he doesn't take it, given his talent, he might not reach inner energy tranquility even until death. However, after a brief moment of hesitation, he ultimately decided to take it. With the entry of the ammunition, a pure power filled his entire body. Gu Qingfeng quickly operated the Pure Yang Palace, and began to crazily absorb the power. This scene drew the admiration of the surrounding demon hunters, who praised him for his dedication. He truly is a role model. An hour later, Gu Qingfeng felt that the power inside him had already reached a critical point. Unable to hold it in, he let out a thunderous fart. The lounge instantly became filled with a foul stench. However, Gu Qingfeng finally broke through to the 4th level of Qi gathering, and it was even at the peak of the 4th level. He didn't expect the effect of the Peiyuan pill to be this good. He wanted to take a few more. Then wouldn't he run out of energy in no time? But this moss is really stingy. This accompanying original item is only given out once. If a Huangjie exorcist wants to get the accompanying original item, they can only do tasks to exchange for merit. There are elixirs for quick cultivation. Who would want to work hard for that? Then they can only do 996 for merit every day. Honestly, just be a worker. Speaking of work, Gu Qingfeng suddenly remembered that today was the first day he reported as a Huangjie demon slayer. He absolutely cannot be late. So he immediately took off running back. But what Gu Qingfeng didn't expect was that his direct supervisor turned out to be He Fenghua. No wonder he was the judge for this competition. It turns out he replaced the deceased Master Yang, the demon slayer. Hosting the competition was just to select his subordinates. After all, he had refused twice. That old bastard is definitely going to make things difficult for me. Thinking of this, Gu Qingfeng felt something was off. But he still spoke up first. Subordinate Gu Qingfeng reports in. However, he didn't speak to Fenghua. This made the atmosphere quite awkward. It was obvious that this was meant to embarrass Gu Qingfeng. Fortunately, the one-eyed woman stretched and greeted Gu Qingfeng, which eased the awkwardness. Then he walked up to Gu Qingfeng and put his hand on Gu Qingfeng's shoulder. He smiled and said, "Late on your first day of duty. No discipline at all. I'm docking your pay for a month. Hope you'll learn from this." Then he turned to look at He Fenghua, and asked, "He Fenghua, what do you think?" Upon hearing this, He Fenghua's face turned sullen. But he still slowly spoke. He said one word, while Gu Qingfeng looked completely confused. At the same time, he couldn't help but curse inwardly, "Damn it. On my first day at work, I get fined a month's salary, so I can only work for free for a month. Are you two putting on a show for me?" On his first day at work, the man almost arrived late. As a result, when he clocked in, the boss pretended not to hear. He only spoke after a while. This meant that before his salary even arrived, a month's pay was deducted. No wonder he was upset. He directly shot back, "Stop talking nonsense. I have come to Sherman outside. There's still a slight distance from the meteor. But Neilbert couldn't hear my report. So you were just staying quiet to wait for the right moment?" Hearing this, He Fenghua's gaze turned sharp. "I am merely upholding the law. Whether we're late or not, we can check outside. The sun will tell. Or, you could admit your mistake. I might consider being lenient." But Gu Qingfeng just chuckled. "Master He, what a big official account. I see you're abusing your power for personal gain. Suppressing a police officer." As soon as these words were spoken, the rest of the demon-slaying history in the room was shocked. Everyone couldn't help but exclaim how bold Gu Qingfeng is. On the first day of work, he stood up to an official. Although it was Lord He who stirred up trouble first, but under the eaves, one has to bow their head. Does he not understand this principle? He Fenghua then picked up his cup and flicked it at Gu Qingfeng. "Do you know what punishment comes from slandering the Shanghuan family?" To everyone's surprise, Gu Qingfeng showed no signs of fear, and directly retorted at He Fenghua. "Do you know what happens to those who conspire with subordinates? Coercion and enticement. Manipulating the competition. What crime should be charged?" Once these words were spoken, the entire venue was shaken. He Fenghua even crushed the cup in his hand, and said with a gloomy expression, "So unruly. Surely, it must be influenced by evil spirits. Then this official will send you to the demon suppression domain. You will be a jailer for the rest of your life." Hearing this, Gu Qingfeng was taken aback for a moment. Is there really such a good thing? Can this be considered a blessing from above? He was worried about the loss of his opportunity for promotion. The demon suppression domain really is a stroke of luck. It's like someone delivered a pillow when he was sleepy. Gu Qingfeng stepped forward. He grasped He Fenghua's hand. He expressed deep gratitude to him. At the same time, he secretly rejoiced. "The demons on the second floor. I have arrived," but this operation left He Fenghua baffled. He thought he was afraid. That's why he acted this way. At this moment, the one-eyed woman stood up again. She indicated that Lord He is not a cold-hearted person. "We have just gone through a personnel upheaval. Now is precisely the time to employ people. Considering this is his first offense, why not just let it go?" Seeing the one-eyed woman about to perform again, Gu Qingfeng quickly interrupted and said, "Goodbye. You don't need to spare me. Hurry up and take me to the demon suppression realm. Lord He, there's no better day than today. Let's go with today." Even the one-eyed girl was infuriated by his words. "Gu Qingfeng, how can you be this stubborn? The Lord has given you a way out. Why not just concede? Do you really want to stay in the demon suppression realm in your next life?" Gu Qingfeng was taken aback. "Isn't it allowed?" This left the one-eyed woman dumbfounded. "You brat, has your brain short-circuited?" At that moment, He Fenghua suddenly coughed. Interrupting, he said, "Today, I will be magnanimous. So I won't hold it against you. The Emperor's nephew is you. Quickly take them to choose someone. I still have official documents to handle." After saying this, he got up and walked towards the door. The reason he let Gu Qingfeng go was not because of kindness, but because Zenmosi really needs people right now. There was a problem right after he took office. With so few people, the performance might still be at the bottom. Compared to these, what does Gu Qingfeng count for, this troublemaker? Right now, he is bearing humiliation and taking on responsibilities. At worst, he can settle the score after autumn. But Gu Qingfeng is indeed somewhat heartbroken. How did his second layer just disappear? Then Huang Zhisher took Gu Qingfeng to select subordinates. According to the regulations of ZhenMoC, each yellow rank exorcist can select up to 5 people under their command. Huang Zhisher introduced the cultivation levels of 5 newly promoted exorcists to the apprentice exorcists. Among them, 4 are experts at the inner qi mirror level. Only Gu Qingfeng has the cultivation of the gathering qi mirror, and he is at the gathering qi 3rd level. In fact, his cultivation level is even lower than most of the apprentice exorcists present. Regarding Gu Qingfeng's achievements, those present had some understanding. However, most of them did not have high hopes for Gu Qingfeng. They believed that although Gu Qingfeng's external skills were formidable, his cultivation level was ultimately just at the gathering qi stage. Internal energy martial artists and those at the gathering qi stage are completely different concepts. A fist cannot break through his defenses. Is it possible that internal energy entering the body can't harm him? Moreover, external skills are easy to learn, but the upper limit is very low. They can only show off when their cultivation is low. Once the opponent's cultivation increases, those who practice external skills become live targets. So, in their eyes, Gu Qingfeng is definitely the weakest among the 5. So when it came to picking people, the other 4 quickly had people standing behind them. But no one stood behind Gu Qingfeng. It seems like he was being avoided. But there weren't many slots for the demon hunters here anyway. 5 people each wasn't nearly enough. If things continued this way, he might not get a single one. So Gu Qingfeng decided to take the initiative. He began to recruit people from the other demon-slaying teams. He indicated that although following a powerful captain on missions might be safer, what would happen if they encountered a demon stronger than the captain? If you join my team, I promise to act as a meat shield in front of you. Your chances of survival will definitely be much higher than mine. Nevertheless, most people are still full of disdain for Gu Qingfeng. But there are exceptions. Take this cowardly Wang Fatty, for example, and this weak scholar, Su Dazi. The 2 of them were successfully fooled by Gu Qingfeng. After selecting their subordinates, according to the rules of Zenmos, each royal-level demon slayer is responsible for a district, specialized in managing demon incidents in this area, and the authority for this allocation is, of course, in the hands of Xuanjie and Fenghua. But at that moment, Wang Fatty kept mumbling behind, "Heaven bless us. Please don't let it be Heishui village." Hearing this, Gu Qingfeng was a bit puzzled. What's wrong with Heishui village? It was only after Wang Fatty's explanation that he learned. It turns out that Lord Yang, the profound rank demon slayer who died recently, perished in the withered bone forest of Blackwater village. It was a dark and windy night. Lord Yang, the profound rank demon slayer, led 4 yellow rank demon slayers, including Zhao Chang, to patrol the withered bone forest. Unexpectedly, the bones suddenly turned into demons, and they killed Lord Yang. Lord Li Qianren, the heaven-rank demon slayer, was furious upon hearing the news. He immediately dispatched an earth-rank demon slayer and 3 profound-rank demon slayers to Blackwater village. But in the end, they found nothing. The only conclusion is that the perpetrator is a roaming demon. It is not local, but if you just think about it, you'll know that these are just comforting words. Demons prefer places heavy with yin energy. The yin energy of the withered bones is even heavier. This demon must have an extremely high spirit. When the demon slayers arrive, it hides away. If he leaves, he will continue to commit crimes. Later, he took over from Lord Yang with Lord Fenghua. He was in charge of Yingshan County. Heishui village is a village under Yingshan County. That's why Fatty Wang was afraid of being assigned to Heishui village. He even specially asked about the relationship between Gu Qingfeng and Lord He. He wanted to see if Lord He could make an exception. Gu Qingfeng looked at He Fenghua. I awkwardly smiled. My relationship with Lord He is very good. He will definitely take special care of me. Upon hearing this, Wang Fatty was overjoyed. He thought that Gu Qingfeng had a good relationship with He Fenghua. He felt that this was a sure win. Unexpectedly, He Fenghua was cold. Gu Qingfeng, from now on, you will be responsible for Heishui village. Wang Fatty listened. I was completely stunned. Master Gu, didn't you say you have a good relationship with Master He? Gu Qingfeng awkwardly nodded. Yeah. We have some grievances from the past. Fat Wang directly knelt down. Now he realized he was on a pirate ship. So, he suggested to Gu Qingfeng, why don't we just take a stroll around the outskirts of Blackwater village? We don't have to go into the village, that should be good enough. But Gu Qingfeng stated that what you're doing is fraudulent. As part of the demon exorcism history, regard eliminating demons and protecting the people as my duty. Knowing that Blackwater Village suffers greatly from the harm of demons, you turn a blind eye. How can you face the people of the world? Upon hearing this, Fat Wang glared at the dazed Su beside him. Get him to say something too. Quick, persuade Lord Gu. I didn't expect that Su Daisy would solemnly say, "You're right, my lord." To save the people from water and fire. To turn the tide when it has already fallen. To support the collapsing mansion. I indeed didn't come to the wrong place. Lord Gu is truly a hero. Upon hearing this, Wang Pengzi was completely stunned. Are you kissing up, or is your brain really fried? Am I still in time to prepare for my funeral? Gu Qingfeng turned and smiled, reassuring everyone. With me around, those mere monsters aren't worth mentioning. However, there are still 3 days until I go to Heishui village for my new post. Gu Qingfeng plans to take this time to practice the Yizhi Fenyang sword. Though the power of ordinary flames is somewhat lacking, but you have to light it first when using it, which is a bit troublesome. So Gu Qingfeng thought, why not simplify the lighting process? It'd be best if drawing the sword ignites fire. Thinking of this, Gu Qingfeng suddenly had a flash of inspiration. Isn't this just a lighter? The man, because his flames were too powerful, had to use an anti-fire sword. For easier ignition, he even thought of making the weapon into a lighter. First, he planned to use special flint. To craft the sword blade, fill the scabbard with special oil, and then add a clasp. As soon as the sword is drawn, the blade will rub against the latch, which ignites the oil. So the sword becomes a flaming sword when drawn, and he has a natural affinity with fire. The remaining special oil in the sheath won't burn. His fire affinity allows him to extinguish it. Thinking of this, Gu Qingfeng felt like he was a genius. As a modern person, his thinking was truly unique. He then went to the blacksmith shop in town Mose. He was ready to forge a weapon. To his surprise, the blacksmith turned out to be an old man who loved to work out. As soon as Gu Qingfeng mentioned he wanted to make a weapon, the old man said they were closing up. Gu Qingfeng couldn't help but sigh. Public officials are truly different. Helpless, he had no choice but to use his special ability. He handed over the silver and the blueprints together. Sure enough, when the old man saw the silver, his attitude made a complete turnaround. He picked up the blueprints and started reading them frantically. Moments later, the old man put down the blueprints. With a troubled expression, he said, according to your idea, Lord Gu, I can indeed craft such a rocket. But this one is made from flint, so it's extremely fragile. It will shatter upon impact. It's not suitable for close combat at all. Gu Qingfeng had already anticipated this. He let the old man proceed as requested. Anyway, he doesn't care about the quality of the sword. He's not planning to use a rocket for a sword fight. He just wants to use it to perform the Fenyang sword once. It doesn't matter if it's sturdy or not. After hearing this, the old man didn't say much more. He stretched out 5 fingers and told Gu Qingfeng to come back in 5 days to pick it up. It'll take 5 days at the earliest. Gu Qingfeng's face instantly darkened. He had to go to Heishui village in 3 days. He couldn't afford to gamble with his life. So he searched his body again, and took out a large bag of silver. He stated it would take at most 3 days. The old man listened. He was stunned for a moment. Then he immediately agreed. Wiggling his hips, he got to work. With the incentive of extra money, the old man finished building the rocket in just 2 days. Gu Qingfeng even gave him a powerful name, Submersion. However, to be safe, Gu Qingfeng specially prepared a lot of supplies. There is a magic sword personally consecrated by the master to eliminate evil spirits. There is also a spirit-detecting knife issued by the Demon Suppression Department. In addition, during his cultivation, he accidentally discovered the wooden king sword, which can not only regenerate, but also change its material according to the owner's needs. Additionally, he has 7 talismans in hand, and a vial of oxygen pills. After making all these preparations, Gu Qingfeng feels that this situation should be stable. He immediately called Wang Fatty and Su Fool to get ready to set off. But after just a few days, how did Wang Fatty seem to have gotten even fatter? Only after asking did he find out that Wang Fatty, afraid of dying, had put on another layer of thick armor. Gu Qingfeng couldn't help but silently complain in his heart. That Wang Fatty is really something. Wearing such heavy armor, can you still walk steadily? Afterward, they officially set out. By dusk, they finally arrived at Heishui village in Yinshan County. But upon seeing the peaceful scene of Heishui village, Gu Qingfeng couldn't help but feel a bit puzzled. Is there really a demon in such a tranquil village? Still, he decided to go in and take a look first. As soon as they entered the village, a man was stopped by an old man. The old man's name was Hu Liang. He was the village chief of Heishui village. After a brief exchange of pleasantries, Hu Liang recounted the events that had happened in the village recently. A month ago, a dark wind suddenly began to blow through Heishui village. The dark wind swallowed the children. At first, everyone didn't pay much attention. They just thought it was taken away by a wild beast. After all, there are many mountains here. Naturally, there are many wild beasts. But in the following days, several more children went missing in the village. Some of them even disappeared from their homes. Some said a dark wind blew through at that time. The wind blew so hard they couldn't open their eyes. When they finally did, the children were gone. Hu Liang, as the village chief, had traveled extensively in his younger years, and had seen many demons. So after concluding that these disappearances were caused by demons, he immediately reported it to the Demon Suppression Bureau. Then there's the matter of Lord Yang. However, what's strange is, ever since Lord Yang left, the village hasn't lost another child. It seems the monsters really are as the Emperor said about the magic stones. Acting on the move, they have already left. After understanding the ins and outs of the matter, Gu Qingfeng let Hu Liang go back first. He wanted to take advantage of the early evening, to stroll around the bone forest. But just then, Wang Pengzi pressed down on his shoulder. With a flattering expression, he said that Lord Gu hadn't had any demons causing trouble for several days. It seems the demons have really left. Why don't we go back to report? Little did he know, Gu Qingfeng firmly rejected and told him to shut up. If you want to leave, you can leave on your own. I'm staying in Heishui village tonight. If you dare to leave, I will announce your cowardice to the world. At the same time he said this, Gu Qingfeng was secretly thinking that he hoped to encounter demons to level up. How can you think of leaving? What are you thinking about? Wang Fatty saw that it wasn't going to work, so he quickly changed his tone, and said he didn't dare. At this moment, a vendor selling candied hawthorn caught their attention, especially Wang Fatty, who was practically drooling. He even asked Gu Qingfeng and Su Fool if they wanted one too. Su Daisy adjusted his glasses. He was about to say something. Then he heard Gu Qingfeng say, "I'll have a skewer." So Wang Pengzi waved his hand to indicate he wasn't buying from Su Daisy. Then he hurried off to chase the candied hawthorn vendor. But no matter how he shouted, the vendor seemed not to hear him at all. Without looking back, he walked into a small alley. Wang Pengzi followed closely behind. The next second, a scream echoed from the alley. Gu Qingfeng immediately became alert upon hearing it. Did they encounter a demon? This was once a village ravaged by demons. But now it showed a peaceful scene. There was even a vendor selling candied hawthorns by the roadside. Wang Pengzi, with his craving, just wanted to eat a stick of candied hawthorns. Chasing the vendor into the alley, he didn't expect that Xiao Fan would vanish into thin air in the dead end. Startled, he couldn't help but scream. By the time Gu Qingfeng arrived, he saw Fatty Wang sitting on the ground, pointing at the dead end and shouting that the candied haw vendor was gone. This is a dead end. Gu Qingfeng and Su Daisy stepped forward to examine it closely. It was discovered that there might be no traps at all. The vendor and Fat Wang were in an alley, competing against each other. Fat Wang is a dancer at the 8th level of Qi accumulation. To disappear in front of him so quickly, the other party must at least be a dancer of true Qi, or perhaps a film master. But if that's really the case, then they could solve the issue of the lost child themselves. So this vendor must be a demon. But now we need evidence. So Gu Qingfeng glanced at a few children playing nearby. He thought these kids had been playing here for a while. They must have seen something. Then he walked up to a kid with a ponytail sticking up. He asked if the kid had seen anyone suspicious just now. Unexpectedly, the kid responded with a question. Suspicious? Who suspects you guys? If you want to inquire about things, do you have any money? Upon hearing this, Wang Fatty was extremely angry. He rolled up his sleeves and shouted that he was going to teach this kid what vibrant colors mean. He thought Su Daisy would at least try to stop him. Unexpectedly, Su Daisy had no intention of stopping him at all. This is awkward now. Gu Qingfeng handed 2 copper coins to the child, asking if he had seen a vendor selling candied hawthorns. Unexpectedly, after receiving the money, the child said he hadn't seen any vendor selling candied hawthorns at all. This left Gu Qingfeng completely distraught. You didn't see anything, yet you dare to ask for money? No sooner had he spoken, than the sky suddenly darkened. Wang Pengzi was startled. He grabbed Gu Qingfeng's hand and wanted to leave, but just then, a hand suddenly rested on his shoulder. Then the village head, Hu Liang, appeared behind Wang Pengzi. It turned out he was inviting a few people to his house for dinner. He had already prepared the meal at home. Gu Qingfeng readily agreed, but just as he was about to leave, he was pulled back by Fat Wang. He even said that the villagers wrote to urge Gu Qingfeng to leave early. However, Gu Qingfeng didn't take it seriously. He told him to shut up, but when he turned around, he noticed that the children had already disappeared. The sudden disappearance happened twice in a row. This made Gu Qingfeng realize something was off. So he turned back and smiled, asking Hu Liang if it was interesting. Your village is really interesting. First, the vendor vanished in the blink of an eye. Then, 3 little kids disappeared while I turned around. 2 disappearances are definitely not a coincidence. This is a provocation from the monsters. However, Hu Liang said there were children. What children are there? It's already so late. Our village just had a disturbance with monsters. Which parent would dare to let their child out at this time? Once this was said, Fat Wang was so scared that he directly hugged Gu Qingfeng. And Gu Qingfeng thought to himself, if the village chief isn't lying, doesn't that mean the vendors and children are all monsters? He now feels that something is off about this village chief. There might even be something wrong with the entire village. To confirm his suspicion, Gu Qingfeng decided to run a small experiment. He asked Su Daisy and Wang Pengzi to turn their heads with him. Then, after counting to 3, they'd turn back, to see if the village chief would disappear too. When the 3 turned around together, sure enough, village chief Hu Liang had vanished. This scene scared Wang Pengzi quite a bit. He immediately grabbed onto the nearby Su Daisy. Although Gu Qingfeng wasn't scared, he had a dark expression on his face. He just wanted to eat a candied hawthorn. But instead of getting the candied hawthorn, the vendor disappeared. After asking the 3 little brats, 2 copper coins were swindled away. Even that old Deng, the village head, treated him like a fool. Thus, Gu Qingfeng grew more and more angry as he thought about it. He immediately ordered Wang Pengzi and Su Daisy to deliver messages door to door. Even if they had to turn the village upside down, they had to find them. But when Wang Pengzi and Su Daisy returned after searching the houses, the results from both were surprisingly the same. There wasn't a single person on the east and west sides. The entire village is deserted. This village is too eerie. Wang Fatty grew more and more scared. Shouldn't we head back for help first? But Gu Qingfeng didn't pay him any attention. He thought, the whole village is empty. Could it be that we've been trapped in an illusion since we entered the village? Thinking of this, he immediately asked the system why I was affected by an illusion, but did not receive any feedback about becoming stronger. The system replied that there are currently 2 possibilities. 1, this is not an illusion from a demon. It may be man-made. 2, this is an illusion from a demon, but it is similar to a sleight of hand. Because it did not cause any harm to me, the system did not react. Seeing the 2 possibilities mentioned by the system, Gu Qingfeng suddenly realized. So that's how it is. Back when I was in the demon town, I fell victim to the eye demon's illusion. It was the eye demon trying to invade my brain with an illusion, to control my body. This was an attack, so it triggered a system response. But after taming the eye demon, I was still able to use it to cast illusions on myself. That's because it didn't launch an attack. And this time, I didn't take a single bit of damage. So the system had no reaction. Thinking through all this, Gu Qingfeng drew the Yenling knife from his waist. They decided to check out the Withered Bones forest, to find out who this mysterious figure is. The old man was just inviting people over for dinner, but not long after that, the protagonist saw his tombstone in the graveyard. To figure out who's behind all this, Gu Qingfeng brought Wang Fatty and Su Fool to the Withered Bones forest. They just arrived here. Gu Qingfeng shouted loudly, Hu Liang, Get out here now. Then he started searching vigorously, looking around here and there, completely without any hesitation. He even let out a strange, stuttering laugh. It was as if he had returned to his own home. Seeing this scene, Wang Fatty and Su Dazi couldn't help but feel emotional. Who exactly is the real monster? Lord Gu is terrifying. But what is this inexplicable sense of security? In the past, during demon suppression missions, which team wasn't careful, facing the cunning and treacherous demons? They were afraid of a single oversight. But when it comes to Lord Gu, the situation is completely the opposite. Facing the monsters that once wiped out the Xuanjia demon exterminators, not only is Lord Gu unafraid and does not flee, he instead searches everywhere for the monsters. Truly a hero of great valor. However, this is also because the monsters deceived Lord Gu. It seems we absolutely cannot deceive Lord Gu in the future. Equally puzzled is the demon hiding in this place. He now even doubts whether Gu Qingfeng is human. Otherwise, why would he not know fear? If not for the worry that killing Gu Qingfeng would, like last time, attract the attention of Zenmosi, and waste time, he would have acted long ago. Right now, he can still wait. But the blood god child has no time left, so he still decided to follow Gu Qingfeng and adapt as needed. Soon after, Gu Qingfeng and the others arrived at a cemetery. Based on his past experience playing games, places like this would typically trigger a buff battle. But no matter whether he kicked with his foot or knocked with his hand, the tombstones showed no response at all. This also made Gu Qingfeng wonder if he was using the wrong method to interact, or if he was just overthinking it. It seems like there's nothing wrong here. Suddenly, Wang Pengzi let out a scream. He collapsed to the ground, pointing at the tombstone, muttering something under his breath. Gu Qingfeng walked closer. Only then did he realize the name on the tombstone was Hu Liang. He recalled that not long ago, Hu Liang had invited them to dinner. Wang Pengzi felt his legs go weak. He collapsed back onto the ground again. But since Hu Liang was dead, these gravestones must belong to the villagers of Heishui village. Gu Qingfeng immediately understood. The Hu Liang they encountered today must have been the ghost after his death. Furious, he kicked Hu Liang's gravestone and shattered it. Then he ordered Wang Pengzi and Su Daisi to dig open Hu Liang's grave. Let's see what this old guy is really up to. He heard they were going to dig a grave. Wang Fatty and Su Daisi quickly shook their heads. You should know that doing such immoral things will bring divine retribution. But ultimately, under Gu Qingfeng's coercive power, the two of them still obediently dug the grave. Moments later, a coffin was unearthed. Gu Qingfeng jumped down directly. He kicked the coffin hard. The coffin lid instantly shattered into pieces. Inside was a withered corpse lying there. But the next second, that corpse suddenly opened its eyes. Like a zombie, it stood up straight. It looked like it had turned into a zombie. But Gu Qingfeng didn't care what it had become. He went up and kicked him. He was sent flying with that kick. This is the consequence of deceiving me. But as Su stared at Hu Liang, who had been kicked away, he felt something strange. Looking at the corpse, it seemed like he hadn't been dead for long. Why was there such a heavy stench of death? Still turned into a zombie. But even though turned into a zombie, since it hasn't been long since the transformation, and wasn't a dancer in life, it's just a low-level zombie. Its strength is roughly equivalent to the 4th stage of giant chi. No need to be afraid. Therefore, Su Daisi concludes, the one who just deceived Gu Qingfeng should be Hu Liang's ghost. And now the zombie they see is transformed from Hu Liang's corpse. Zombies have no spiritual essence. Upon hearing this, Gu Qingfeng became somewhat displeased. So after searching for so long, it turns out this isn't the real deal. Isn't that just a wasted effort? At that moment, a stream of strange purple mist emanated from Hu Liang's corpse. It began to spread around the grave. Immediately, countless withered and hideous arms stretched out from the ground. There were entire clusters of zombies emerging from the soil. They rushed toward the group to attack. Faced with the massive number of zombies, Wang Fatty and Su Daisi were both exhausted from fending them off, thinking of retreating as soon as possible. But Gu Qingfeng became excited. Retreat is not an option. The real show has just begun. After saying this, he stood still, letting the zombies' claws reach for him. Looking at Gu Qingfeng surrounded by zombies, Wang Fatty and Su Daisi couldn't help but break into a cold sweat for him. But in the next second, with the sound of a bell ringing, Gu Qingfeng unleashed the Golden Bell Shield, directly sending these zombies flying. Just playing the zombie sea tactic didn't feel thrilling enough for Gu Qingfeng. Moreover, this kind of small fry was already hard for him to break through. So he decided to test the remaining zombies with the talismans from Morse. He threw a talisman at a zombie. But the trajectory was a bit off. Luckily, it still landed on the zombie in the end. But the power was just too weak. One talisman can only deal with one zombie. He might as well have fought it himself. So Gu Qingfeng took out 2 rare fire talismans. These talismans were in short supply. It looks a bit more precious. I suppose its power should be greater too. Sure enough, as soon as the fire talisman fell, a dozen zombies were instantly engulfed by flames. They turned into wisps of dark energy. Seeing the power of the fire talisman, Fatty Huang and Fool Su were both shocked, their mouths wide open. But Gu Qingfeng was not very impressed. If he didn't have the skill to control fire, he would think this fire-raising talisman is acceptable. But with it, he feels like he's missing out. At this moment, on a tree behind them, a shadow is watching them. It murmurs, such a powerful body. And yet has also cultivated the Golden Bell Shield and Iron Cloth Shirt. His blood quality is probably higher than that of an average steam-purifying warrior. It will surely meet the blood god's demands. Now, there's no need to go through the trouble of attracting the Xian-rank demon slayers. After saying this, he controlled strands of strange purple mist. They began converging toward Gu Qingfeng. Gu Qingfeng instinctively tilted his head to dodge. Unexpectedly, as the purple mist hit the ground, it formed a vortex. The surrounding body parts immediately started gathering toward the vortex. Soon, countless corpses piled up into a small mountain, and through constant merging, it transformed into a disgusting monster over 10 meters tall. He was clearly a living person. But when he arrived at the mass grave, it was as if he had returned home. Even zombies had to take a few kicks from him. Confronted with the giant monster assembled from countless corpses, Wang Fatty and Su Days were both frightened pale. But Gu Qingfeng became excited. This monster looks pretty terrifying. I just wonder how strong it really is. So he asked Wang Pengzi and Su Daisy to stand back. Then he threw out a fire talisman. With a loud bang, the fire talisman pierced straight through the monster's waist. Gu Qingfeng couldn't help but complain that the monster was too weak. Just one fire talisman caused this much damage. As soon as the words were spoken, the monster's shattered demon spawn began to regenerate at a speed visible to the naked eye. In just a few seconds, it was completely restored. Upon seeing this, Su Dazi quickly warned Master Gu. These kinds of fused monsters usually have only one core. Only by defeating the core can it die. This monster is made up of zombies, so its core must be the head. It must be among those more than 500 heads. But Gu Qingfeng seemed quite impatient. He doesn't have time to search for any head right now. It's just a matter of left or right. After saying this, he directly drew out the grinder. The giant monster was met with the sword of burning sheep. There was a loud bang from the wind. The giant monster was instantly engulfed in flames. It was directly burned to ashes. Seeing this scene, Su Dazi couldn't help but ask Lord Gu, "Do you really only have the cultivation of the 4th stage of Qi gathering? Are you really not a hidden powerhouse living a normal life?" Gu Qingfeng casually replied, "No." Then he continued deeper into the bone grove. He told the two not to be dazed, and to hurry up. They still hadn't found the person who deceived him. They needed to keep searching, but they hadn't walked far, when Su Daisy, who was following behind, mysteriously disappeared. To figure out how they disappeared, Gu Qingfeng decided to use Wang Pengzi for an experiment. He waited until he turned around, to see if Wang Pengzi would also disappear. Sure enough, when he turned back again, he saw Wang Pengzi being dragged into a water sphere. Although he was struggling, no sound could be heard. Seeing this, Gu Qingfeng unhesitatingly plunged into the water balloon. Then, with a shift in space, when the two of them woke up again, Jinshi saw the scene of their arrival at Heishui village once more. At this moment, Su Daisy, who had just disappeared, also walked out. Seeing Su Daisy, Wang Pengzi instantly became alert, protecting Gu Qingfeng. Beforehand, remind Lord Gu to be careful. He must not be the real Su Daisy. Upon hearing this, Su Daisy also questioned the identity of Wang Pengzi. He suspected that Wang was the demon. As the two argued back and forth, they still couldn't come up with a reason. Gu Qingfeng thought of the simplest solution. That was to have each of them cut themselves once. From the system's reaction, we can tell whether they're demons or not. When Fatty Wang and Silly Su heard this request, they were completely confused. But thinking that Gu Qingfeng's golden bell shield and iron shirt are fully mastered, they figured a light touch wouldn't cause any harm. So, they both gently tapped Gu Qingfeng with their knives. Meanwhile, Gu Qingfeng watched the system panel. I found that the system did not provide any points. So I confirmed that they were human, not monsters. This relieved both of them. Then, Su Daisy, who arrived here first, shared his analysis. The situation here is likely what the book describes as gloomy. Gloominess refers to a different dimension, independent of reality. Some powerful and gifted demons distort parts of reality through their own strength. They form domains unique to themselves. These demons can resonate with the rules of nature through their innate abilities. Thus, they distort real space. Regarding this, Gu Qingfeng raised his doubts. This doesn't make sense. They're not as strong as masters, yet they can resonate with the rules of nature. Even the masters can't do it. Why can they? Su Daisy nodded, yes. This is also something I don't understand. Maybe this realm favors demons more. But that's not the point. The point is in the sound range. I want to get out. I must first grasp the rules in this vocal range. Hearing this, Gu Qingfeng instantly became excited. Isn't this just an escape room? Moreover, this demon is so special this time. What if it unlocks some great talent or skill for him? Wouldn't that be a windfall? So he rushed straight towards Heishui village. Behind him, Wang Pengzi asked Su Daisy what he needed to watch out for here. Su Daisy was just about to say not to be reckless, when he saw Bu Qingfeng raise his fist and rush towards Hu Liang. A punch landed heavily on Hu Liang's face, accompanied by the sound of breaking glass. Hu Liang actually shattered. Seeing Hu Liang broken, Wang Pengzi and Su Daisy both had looks of disbelief. Su Daisy couldn't help but murmur that it was a mirror demon. It's impossible. Wasn't the mirror demon dead for 200 years? Gu Qingfeng was crouching on the ground, examining the shattered pieces of the beam he had broken. He wondered why the beam had turned into a mirror. Seeing this, Su Daisy wanted to remind him, but it was already too late. At this moment, Gu Qingfeng had already picked up a shard and was admiring himself in it. The man just picked up the mirror shard and took a look. I didn't expect to be sucked into the mirror the next second. I disappeared right on the spot. Seeing this scene, Su Daisy beside me exclaimed in shock. It's all over now. Lord Gu has been sucked in by the mirror demon. After all we've been through, Lord Gu just went in like that. It turns out that at this moment, they are in the shadow domain of the mirror demon. So as long as they look into a mirror, they will be sucked into the mirror space. A copy of themselves that is completely identical will appear there. They must defeat it to escape. 200 years ago, the blood demon emerged. It established the blood demon sect. Gather all the demonic figures under heaven. The 7 strongest among them are known as the 7 demon generals. And this demon suppressor is the 3rd demon general. Back then, the demon suppression division lost countless masters in their efforts to exterminate them. After hearing all this, Fatty Wang asked Fool Su, what should we do now? With your understanding of the demon suppressor, is there a possibility for Lord Gu to win? However, Su Daisy's answer was that it was impossible. In the end, the one who wins must be the clone, because the clone knows no fatigue, knows no fear, has no emotions, and is absolutely rational. So it won't make mistakes. But people will always make mistakes. 200 years ago, Ji Niao left behind a famous saying, the only one who can defeat you is yourself. Since Master Gu has already been drawn in, let's go find a way out. If Master Gu is dead, then we won't be able to escape either. In this radial space, Gu Qingfeng was observing his clone with great interest. He discovered that the clone indeed looked exactly like him. He was still flawlessly handsome from every angle. Unexpectedly, the clone actually heard this. It couldn't help but sarcastically say, could you have a little self-respect? This took Gu Qingfeng by surprise. He didn't expect the clone to be able to talk. But on second thought, it makes sense. Since the other person is a copy, an independent self, of course, they can speak. But now he's more concerned about whether the other can copy the system. After getting the answer that the system can't be copied, Gu Qingfeng felt confident this time. So why be scared at all? This is clearly another great opportunity to become stronger, and it seems like a bug. Because the clone's strength is comparable to his, so if the clone fights him, he can become stronger. Once he becomes stronger, the clone will also become stronger. And so the cycle continues. Doesn't that mean he would become invincible? Thinking of this, Gu Qingfeng swung his fist and struck at him. The clone didn't hold back at all. It countered with a punch of its own. The two collided. Neither could gain the upper hand. But since both had the diamond body to absorb damage, so no one got hurt. Seeing this, Gu Qingfeng was also surprised. He didn't expect the clone to have an indestructible body. Then he drew the Wood King sword from his waist, and stabbed it fiercely into the ground. Suddenly, countless vines sprang up from the surroundings. Toward the clone. They enveloped it. It was just a moment. The mirrored space transformed into a forest. This move is a sand technique of the Wood King sword. 1,000 trees form a forest. All things become a forest. The myriad phenomena. Although the rank of the Wood King sword has dropped, the sand technique should not be underestimated. So far, Gu Qingfeng has not used it against anyone, because apart from himself, no one has been able to force him to go all out. However, before he could be happy for long, the clone trapped by the vines broke free from its restraints, and unleashed the killing move of the Mu Wang sword. In an instant, countless vines became entangled together. For a moment it was hard to tell who was superior. Then, there was a loud bang. The vines exploded directly. Gu Qingfeng didn't expect that this forbidden demon could even replicate the mystical spirit weapons. As expected, it was indeed one of the 7 demon generals. So he drew the Wood King sword, and activated his fire bath talent. He attached the master-level bone demon fire to the Wood King sword. He unleashed the character formula sword. He swung the sword towards the replica. The replica was equally unwilling to back down. It also released a black sword chi. The two sword chi collided. They were once again neutralized. Gu Qingfeng did not expect this. This clone actually has the ability of rebirth through fire. The clone sneered, "Do you feel despair now?" Who would have thought that in the next moment, Gu Qingfeng simply lay down on the ground. "Go ahead and make your move." Seeing this, the clone looked utterly confused. He asked what trick Gu Qingfeng was trying to pull, but Gu Qingfeng replied, "What I can do, you can do too. What kind of tricks could I still pull? Just get it over with. Stop wasting time." These words left the clone of Dao a bit stunned. "You're giving up already? Not going to try again?" But what Gu Qingfeng was thinking was indeed, it's already come to this. What else can be done that's useless? Isn't it nice to just wait and become stronger? Do you know how to defeat a copy with the same strength as you? The main character's choice is to lie down on the ground. Let the opponent attack. After all, he and the copy are equally matched. He can't win anyway. It's better to lie there and let the copy hit him. Then rely on the system to become stronger. Isn't that appealing? Although the clone doesn't know what Gu Qingfeng is up to again, thinking about how their strength is the same as Gu Qingfeng's, they have no more concerns. They attacked Gu Qingfeng with the Wood King sword. Suddenly, countless black vines rushed towards Gu Qingfeng, binding him like a zongzi. Fu Ji also quickly flew forward. He swung his fists at Gu Qingfeng, hitting him repeatedly. But he couldn't even break through Gu Qingfeng's defense. Gu Qingfeng couldn't help but call him brainless. "Don't you know you can't break my defense like this? Use the Fenyang sword technique." That fool used the Fenyang sword to unleash the bone demon flame. Only a Grandmaster level strike can break through this defense. Hearing this, the controlled body suddenly realized. But just as he was about to make his move, a shadow of blood suddenly burrowed into his body. Instantly, the aura surrounding his body changed dramatically, as if he had become a different person. Gu Qingfeng instantly realized that the main person had arrived. So he provocatively said, "I know you are the forbidden demon, the third among the 7 devils." These words indeed hit the forbidden demon right in a sensitive spot. He pinched Gu Qingfeng's chin, just as he was the second. In terms of strength and qualifications, how could I, the golden demon, possibly be inferior to that fool? I am the second under Lord Blood Demon. Upon hearing this, Gu Qingfeng understood that this was an internal conflict among the 7 demon generals. He then asked what the golden demon was here for. Demon General Mu Wangjian thrust his sword into the ground. Gu Qingfeng said straightforwardly, "At such a young age, you possess strength comparable to a grandmaster. As long as you submit to me, and help me accomplish the great plan to resurrect Lord Blood Demon, you will live." Hearing this, Gu Qingfeng suddenly realized. So you killed all the people in Blackwater village. To lure the demon envoy here. Is it to revive the blood demon? That's right, you are somewhat clever. I was going to take you as the blood god successor, but considering your strength, I'll reluctantly accept you into the blood demon sect. Are you willing to submit? But didn't you already replicate me? What do you need my submission for? So the replica can't leave the mirror space. If Gu Qingfeng dies, the replica will die as well. Upon hearing this, Gu Qingfeng burst into laughter. He hadn't even asked anything yet, and Jingyao had already spilled the whole plan. Is he afraid others won't know he plans to resurrect the blood demon? No wonder villains die from overconfidence. It's not without reason. Jingyao sneered with disdain. For a dead man, is there a need to hide the truth? But Gu Qingfeng let out a sigh. Such an idiot. No wonder you're ranked 3rd. As soon as he said that, it instantly angered the forbidden demon. It unleashed the one character Fun Yang sword at Gu Qingfeng. And this was exactly what Gu Qingfeng wanted. He had spent a long time talking. He was just waiting for this sword, to see if it could break the limits of the Vajra body. For this, he even took the initiative to close his fire bath talent. He allowed this sword to strike him. There was a huge bang. The system alerted that the host was attacked by a golden demon. Defense increased by 1000. Congratulations, the host has surpassed the defense limit. The indestructible body has evolved into an unbreakable form. As the system notification ended, Gu Qingfeng felt himself becoming stronger. This feeling is truly exhilarating. So he continued to provoke the 3rd one. Are you even capable? As soon as these words were spoken, the mirror demon was instantly blinded by rage. It launched dozens of attacks at Gu Qingfeng in a row. Once, the burning ocean sword greatly boosted Gu Qingfeng's defenses, but after multiple failed attacks, the mirror demon was also starting to wear out. In a trembling voice, he asked Gu Qingfeng what kind of constitution he had. Why were even Grandmaster level attacks ineffective against him? Unexpectedly, Gu Qingfeng was angry and retorted, "You are my clone. Don't you know what constitution I have? Didn't you undergo the purification?" Hearing this, Jingyao was momentarily stunned. Purification? What purification? As soon as this statement was made, Gu Qingfeng instantly understood the weakness of the mirror demon. It turns out that the mirror demon's replication is based on the moment it enters the mirror space. In other words, if he can break through in the mirror space, the copy will not grow stronger. No wonder the mirror demon was defeated 200 years ago. Someone must have discovered its secret. Think carefully about this. Gu Qingfeng slowly walked toward the mirror demon, then coldly said, "I'll give you one last chance. If you have any powerful moves, use them now, or you'll lose the opportunity." After saying that, Gu Qingfeng didn't forget to make a throat-slitting gesture to scare the demon. The demon was so frightened by his actions that it retreated repeatedly. Seeing this, Gu Qingfeng knew. It seems he had guessed correctly. This golden demon really is useless except for copying. Although it can copy, it can't replicate his system. The clone's physical defense is extremely strong, and it can even control flames. Its strongest move is the burning ocean sword. Although it is fire, it has reached the level of a master in terms of power. So, facing such an attack, originally, my desire fire talent could only reduce damage, not negate it. Now that the diamond body has evolved, I don't know if a single burning ocean sword can harm me. So, Gu Qingfeng thought about whether to tempt Jingyao to strike him. After all, he could still wear him down. Otherwise, take this opportunity to try the indestructible body. Thinking of this, Gu Qingfeng quickly dodged and circled behind Jingyao. Then he used the indestructible body, and delivered a heavy punch to Jingyao's golden bell shield. There was a crack, and the golden bell shield shattered. Jingyao looked utterly incredulous. It's simply impossible. Then, Gu Qingfeng sent him flying with a punch. What's even more impossible is yet to come. I saw Gu Qingfeng kick off the ground and chase after the forbidden demon. Then, in midair, he unleashed a series of attacks on the Forbidden Demon. The Forbidden Demon had no power to fight back. In the end, it fell to the ground, creating a pit several meters wide. Crying with a face full of grievance, "Why is your original body so much stronger than the clone? Do you know what happens when a clone encounters a system bug?" Upon realizing that the clone couldn't evolve and grow stronger like itself, Gu Qingfeng immediately used his newly evolved indestructible body to unleash a flurry of punches on Jingyao. He made Jingyao cry, not understanding why Gu Qingfeng's original body is so much stronger than the clone. However, Gu Qingfeng simply placed his foot on his head, and coldly said, "If this is your last words, then goodbye." Jingyao's face immediately showed fear upon hearing this. "Wait, you can't kill me. I am Lord Blood Demon's most favored subordinate. I have a mark left by the Lord on me. If you kill me, the mark will be imprinted on you. Lord Blood Demon will definitely not let you go." Once these words were spoken, Gu Qingfeng laughed directly. "I didn't expect to get a buy one get one free deal. Then I have to kill you." Upon hearing this, Wen Yao was stunned in place. "Wait, this isn't how the script is written." Then he threatened Gu Qingfeng again, saying, "Don't be arrogant. The strength of Lord Blood Demon is above that of a master. Killing you is easy." I didn't expect Gu Qingfeng to be even happier. The master's supremacy is just wonderful. This move, not following the usual playbook, has completely broken the Golden Demon. I wonder what this person is really about. At this moment, Gu Qingfeng suddenly grabbed his neck. He lifted him up. He confirmed again, "Are you sure you can leave a mark on me? Don't die on me later." "The mark is gone. Then who do I ask to reason with?" Jing Yao was filled with disbelief. He didn't expect Gu Qingfeng to really want to kill him. Could it be that he is outdated? It's only been 200 years. Has the reputation of the Blood Demon Lord, who could silence crying children, become so ineffective? At this moment, Gu Qingfeng increased the strength in his hands again. He coldly said, "I hate being deceived the most. And you have used the souls of the villagers from Heishui village to deceive me multiple times. So you must die." The apricot demon was so frightened that cold sweat broke out. She hurriedly explained, "I didn't deceive you. I just wanted to scare you away. Who knew you would be so angry?" But Gu Qingfeng raised his fist, and angrily said, "The most important thing is, you stole my 2 copper coins. 2 copper coins." As soon as he said this, the mirror demon was completely stunned. "What companion? It has nothing to do with me." However, just as Gu Qingfeng was about to choke him to death, the mirror demon indeed revealed a wicked smile. "The villain dies from talking too much. But this talkative villain isn't me. It's you while you're speaking." The spirit demon's body turned into wisps of black smoke, and quickly dove into Gu Qingfeng's body, attempting to occupy him. "Let it become your own slave." But unfortunately, he is facing the main character, Gu Qingfeng. The main character prevails over empty words. Only villains die from talking too much. Then the system notified the host that they were attacked by the mirror demon. The mirror clone is hatching. At the same time, Gu Qingfeng could also hear the screams of the mirror demon inside his body. At this moment, his body was gradually dissolving. What he didn't expect even more was that Gu Qingfeng had also mastered the mirror clone and appeared right in front of him. Seeing that he was about to be completely dissolved, Jing Yao quickly shouted, "Lord Blood God, save me." As soon as he finished speaking, a drop of blood shot out from his body, and a scolding voice came, "Waste. The main body is about to awaken. I can't believe I have to waste my energy on trash like you. After this matter, offer 10,000 lives as a blood sacrifice." So this drop of blood is one of the essence bloods of the blood demon. Upon seeing Gu Qingfeng's body, it immediately got excited and wanted to turn Gu Qingfeng's body into its own vessel. It transformed into countless smaller blood droplets, surrounding the area around Gu Qingfeng. In an instant, the mirror demon's mirrored virtual space turned blood red and began to continuously erode Gu Qingfeng's body. System prompt: the host is under attack from the blood god. Bloodline concentration increased by 10 plus 10 plus 10. Accompanied by the system's prompt sound, the blood god's scream echoed within Gu Qingfeng's body, who was gradually being dissolved at that moment. At this time, the system prompted, "Congratulations, host, you have obtained a divine ability. Mirror clone can create a clone that is identical to the host and possesses comparable strength. The duration of existence is determined by the host's cultivation level. The current duration is equivalent to a stick of incense. After reading this introduction about the mirror clone, Gu Qingfeng immediately became excited. Isn't this just a skill for demon competition? Moreover, it has no restrictions on mirror space. Although the time is a bit short, but it doesn't matter. When my cultivation improves in the future, time will lengthen. At this moment, the system prompt should sound again, congratulating the host. The bloodline concentration has reached the requirements of the ring. Bloodline awakening can now be performed. Seeing this system prompt, Gu Qingfeng couldn't help but sigh. Is my luck so good today? But what is bloodline awakening? The system indicates to return to the host. This is the necessary path for bloodline awakening. But at that moment, it seemed like something flew out of his body. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be a wisp of the blood demon's remnant soul. The remnant soul then launched an attack on Gu Qingfeng. The system prompts, you are under attack by the blood demon's remnant soul. Soul power plus 100 plus 100 plus 100. As the system notification sounded, the blood demon's remnant soul also began to dissolve, letting out a final scream before vanishing completely from the mirror space. At the same time, a new system prompt appeared. Congratulations, the host's soul power has repeatedly broken through its limits. Gained the innate talents of keen hearing and sharp eyesight. Photographic memory. The spirit platform is clear, the inner self is pure. Villains die from too much chatter. The protagonist triumphs over verbal tricks. This statement is indeed correct. The demon enters the male host's body. He wanted to make her his forbidden mother, but he ended up losing more than he gained. Instead, he got himself involved. Even the blood god's son became Gu Qingfeng's experience for leveling up, and it came with some fragments of the blood demon's memories. After absorbing these memory fragments, Gu Qingfeng also learned that the blood demon was besieged by the Righteous Alliance years ago. Although he didn't die completely, but it also harmed the origin. The origin transformed into 36 drops of blood essence. To revive, it first needs to restore the origin with blood. Each drop of blood essence absorbs blood and revives before merging together. The blood demon will return to the human world. One can only imagine. In these 200 years, the blood demon cult has committed countless atrocities to resurrect the blood demon. Although he has fused with a drop of blood god's blood now, it does not affect the resurrection of the blood demon. It's just that the blood demon's power will be slightly weaker than before. After clarifying this, Gu Qingfeng began to check the changes in his body. The system had just notified him that he could undergo bloodline awakening, but he felt nothing at all. So he immediately asked the system what was going on. The system replies that the power in your bloodline is within your body, not something I provide. It's not my responsibility. I can't help you. You can only awaken on your own. As for your ancestors, we'll see after the bloodline awakens. However, this kind of bloodline awakening is not suitable to happen here. We'll talk more when we get back to Zenmo's. Upon receiving this reply, Gu Qingfeng didn't dwell on it too much. He quickly asked about other skills. The system soon provided detailed explanations of several talents. Heightened senses, improved perception, enhanced hearing and vision, photographic memory, literal meaning. Books that have been read can be remembered. A clear mind enhances resistance to illusions. An innate ability to resist external evils. Can keep the mind clear. Can lose one's sanity. Enhances insight. Reduces the risk of falling into madness. The inner chamber can reveal the internal organs, the meridians and dantian. Although it's an auxiliary skill, it has miraculous effects on cultivation. Normally, cultivation involves absorbing the energy of heaven and earth and channeling it through the body's meridians. It allows one to clearly see the flow of meridians, reducing the likelihood of the host going astray. Spiritual perception is independent of the five senses. You can foresee danger in advance, detect the malice of others, feel the gaze of others, etc. In addition, there is a power sponsored by Blood Demon Friendship. Blood Demon 36 Laws. Blood rebirth is also one of the basic skills of Blood Demon Resurrection. Even if the body is smashed to pieces, as long as there is a drop of blood left, then one can be reborn. It's truly a life-saving technique. However, although this method is powerful, it also has its limitations. That is, the blood must be from one's original essence. It also cannot harm the original source. Moreover, after rebirth, one will be extremely weak, and needs to recover slowly. After watching the introduction of this skill, Gu Qingfeng couldn't help but laugh out loud. As long as I can preserve my original essence blood, I can be resurrected. That's like having an extra life. Such a powerful skill. This time, I've really struck it rich. From now on, I can strike back hard when facing demons. But just then, suddenly, countless cracks appeared in the space above. Then a piece of debris fell down with a whoosh. It directly hit him on the head. Gu Qingfeng looked up. Only then did he realize that the demon slayer had died. The mirror space he created had followed him. Once the mirror space completely collapsed, Gu Qingfeng returned to the bone forest. But Wang Pengzi and Su Daizi were nowhere to be seen. Just as he was about to call out to them loudly, Wang Pengzi and Su Daizi also fell out from the mirror space. Seeing that they had returned to the bone forest, Su Daizi looked utterly incredulous. Wang Pengzi was suspicious that it might be the ghost of the pure demon island again. At that moment, Gu Qingfeng came before them, and explained that he had killed the demon. The demon should be dead. Only then can you escape from the mirror. But after seeing him with disheveled hair, Wang Fatty and Su Daze both truly believe that he is fake. After all, the demon is one of the 7 demon generals. Even a grandmaster wouldn't dare to say they can kill the demon. Yet the gentleman before them boldly claims this is either bragging or fake. In response, Gu Qingfeng can't be bothered to say much more, while untying Su Daizi's hair tie, then tying it on my own head, drawing a knife. If you don't believe me, just like last time, cut me twice, and see if I'm real or not. As soon as these words were spoken, Wang Pengzi and Su Daizi almost fully believed. After all, saying something like, cut me twice. But not many people can say that. Jing Yao must really be dead. Otherwise, the Yin domain wouldn't collapse. They wouldn't have been kicked out of the mirrored space. Just as this thought crossed my mind, a huge crack appeared in the space above the Yin domain. The entire space began to shake violently. Seeing this, Su Daze was suddenly startled. It seems the shadow realm is still collapsing. We need to run quickly now. If we don't leave here before it collapses, we will all be crushed into pieces by the power of space. Having said that, they hurriedly ran towards the village entrance. That's the entrance to the Shadow Realm. Now that the Shadow Realm is collapsing, the exit must have opened as well. But they hadn't run far, when a group of vengeful spirits blocked their path. The man had just gained the power of blood resurrection. He was about to show off, but his subordinate ruined it. Just as Gu Qingfeng and the others were running towards the village entrance, a group of vengeful spirits suddenly blocked their way. Fatty Wang and Fool Su turned around and fled. But Gu Qingfeng did the opposite, shouting for the two to leave first, while he covered the rear. At the same time, he was secretly delighted, thinking that due to the collapse, the space would break down. If I don't leave, I'll be torn apart by the force of space. That's the force of space. By doing this, I can both enjoy the force of space. It can also touch Wang Fatty and Su Dazi, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Am I too smart? But Wang Fatty awkwardly said, Lord Gu, these souls were ordinary people in life. Even as souls, they are not strong. At our speed, they definitely can't catch up. There's no need to hold back at all. As soon as those words were spoken, Gu Qingfeng was instantly frozen in place. He then turned to Fat Wang and vented. So you think you're so smart? You think you're the only one who can talk, huh? I just want to hold back. What's wrong with that? You two better get the hell away from me. Don't mess with my performance. Upon hearing this, Wang Fatty wanted to say something. Su Daze quickly covered his mouth. Then he smartly pushed Wang Fatty out. Gu Qingfeng then turned his anger towards these ghosts. It's all your fault. Why are you all so weak? You made me lose face. He swung his fist directly at these ghosts. With a loud bang, the ghosts were completely shattered. The space above the sound domain could finally bear no more. It began to completely collapse. The space fissures spread towards Gu Qingfeng. At this moment, the system prompted you that you were attacked by the forbidden demon. Space attributes increased by 100 plus 100 plus 100. Congratulations, host, for acquiring the alternate dimension. As the system prompt tone ended, Gu Qingfeng opened his eyes again. He began to review the attributes of his alternate dimension. It turns out this alternate dimension is similar to a portable domain, and can also be called a personal mini-world. Its function is to store items and hold living people. The key rule is stability, similar to the real world. And the range of the other dimensional space can cover the entire Blackwater village. Here, he is the master. He can keep some demon slaves, to let them survive in the other dimensional space. The rules of survival are the same as in the real world. They can follow his commands anytime, anywhere. After listening to the system's explanation, Gu Qingfeng suddenly became excited, and thought of some interesting little gadgets. It was as if he could see a wonderful life waving at him. But at that moment, the system interrupted his beautiful fantasy, and reminded him, "Host, your subordinates are still waiting outside. Leave now." Gu Qingfeng thought for a moment. It's better to leave first. As soon as he finished speaking, a huge portal appeared in front of him. Gu Qingfeng also left through the portal. Meanwhile, Wang Pengzi and Su Daisy watched the gradually closing exit, and fell into silence. Su Daisy felt that the Lord Gu was going to take revenge on those evil spirits. After all, they deceived Lord Gu. Fatty Wang also nodded. It makes sense. But how petty can Lord Gu be? He was deceived by a single sentence. Does that warrant risking his life for revenge? Ever since those three little brats swindled Lord Gu out of a few copper coins, everything has gone haywire. Look at him. He's so angry that he refuses to go back. Not only did he dig up someone's grave, but he also desecrated the corpse. Now he wants to frighten the soul of the deceased. However, what the two of them didn't know was that all the bad things they just said had been overheard by Gu Qingfeng. Angry, Gu Qingfeng drew the wooden king's sword and held it against Wang Pengzi's neck. This made their discussions come to an abrupt halt. Wang Pengzi quickly changed his tone. "My Lord Gu, you've finally come out safely. I've been praying for you all along." Gu Qingfeng scolded with a laugh. "Get lost. I'm in a good mood today. I'll take you back to the Demon Suppression Department to receive your rewards. If I want to find trouble with you, it depends on my mood." Not long after, they returned to the Demon Suppression Division. They reported the incident of slaying the demon in Heishui village. Feng Hua was stunned upon hearing it. He looked at the junior demon token, in disbelief, his face full of shock. The man was just a low-ranking Yellow Order demon slayer, yet he defeated a master-level demon purifier. But when he was ready to return for his reward, his superior simply didn't believe him. Fortunately, Gu Qingfeng was prepared, allowing He Fenghua to check the death aura on the demon-slaying token. After all, that couldn't be faked. He Fenghua placed his hand on his forehead. He looked seriously at Gu Qingfeng. He said, "If I find out that you cheated, you'll regret it." After saying this, he began to check the death aura in the demon extermination order. His consciousness also entered the space of Gu Qingfeng's demon extermination order. After a demon dies, its death will be recorded in the form of light bars in the demon extermination order space. The stronger the demon's power, the more information that needs to be recorded, the coarser it becomes. As soon as He Fenghua came in, he noticed that although the demons in Gu Qingfeng's exorcism order weren't very strong, most were at the 4th level of body refining. But there were just too many of them. There was also a shadow almost materialized into form. He had really killed the purified demon. After verifying its authenticity, He Fenghua fell into a brief contemplation. He wanted to claim this tremendous achievement for himself. Then he waved his hand. He told Gu Qingfeng and the others to go back and rest for a while. The demon elimination order would be kept with him for now. He would report to Shangguan later. Then they would be rewarded based on their merits. Hearing this, Gu Qingfeng, although he expressed his thanks to the Lord, but deep down, he was a bit puzzled. Why did He Fenghua suddenly become so kind? He always felt this guy was up to something. However, he didn't say anything at the time. Instead, he cooperatively excused himself first. But after the others left, He Fenghua could no longer contain the joy in his heart. He looked at the demon-slaying orders all over the wall. He burst into laughter. He was thinking about where to place Gu Qingfeng's contribution. All these merits belonged to him. At that moment, a voice suddenly sounded from behind him. "Lord He, what are you laughing at?" Gu Qingfeng peeked his head in. He greeted He Fenghua. He Fenghua turned around and replied, "How can you eavesdrop on my conversation?" Gu Qingfeng, you need to change this bad habit of yours. And isn't this official happy for you? You have achieved such great merit. It brings me honor as well. Upon hearing this, Gu Qingfeng suddenly understood. So that's how it is. I was scared that you were trying to take credit for my achievements. Once this was said, He Fenghua felt a bit guilty, but still stubbornly said, how could you be so arrogant, Your Excellency? I am behaving appropriately and uprightly. Of course, I wouldn't engage in such underhanded tactics. Besides, this demon subduing order, which records the deathly aura of demons, belongs to you. It is registered at the demon subduing temple. Is there anything else you need? If not, you may leave. After sending Gu Qingfeng away, He Fenghua looked around at the door for a while. After confirming that there was no one, he finally closed the door. He let out a long breath. Then he couldn't help but burst into laughter. This fool actually believed it. Although the demon exorcism order is yours, but the aura inside can be captured by the formation. As long as we find a master of formations, all that aura can be transferred to my demon-slaying order. At that time, all the credit will be mine. Let me secure the credit first. Position is humble, but words are precious. No matter how you struggle, no one will believe you. The official has taken office. The establishment of demon slayers is just around the corner. However, just as he was feeling pleased with himself, Gu Qingfeng's head poked back in through the window. Lord He, what are you laughing about now? This superior pretends to help the male lead gain credit, but secretly thinks about taking the male lead's achievements for himself. Unexpectedly, the male lead actually returned. He said he forgot something, so he specifically came back. He Fenghua pretended to be calm and asked Gu Qingfeng what was the matter. But inside, he was panicking. He didn't know if Gu Qingfeng had heard what he just said. The aura of the demon hasn't shifted yet. He couldn't afford to create additional trouble now. Unexpectedly, Gu Qingfeng said he forgot to take his demon-slaying order. As soon as those words were spoken, He Fenghua immediately got anxious. You took away the demon removal order. How am I supposed to take credit for you now? This kind of officer needs to meet directly with Lord Li of the celestial level demon removal. With your rank, you can't even meet Lord Li. But Gu Qingfeng just smiled and said it's no problem. Then, sir, you can just take me to see Lord Li. After saying this, he prepared to reach out to take back his demon-slaying order. But he was grabbed by He Fenghua, who took it down. Then he threatened, you better step back quickly. I need to return to Jinhua Temple to report now. You do realize time is of the essence. Can you bear the consequences? However, Gu Qingfeng was rubbing his hand and retorted to Lord He, are you sure you won't return the demon-slaying order to me? I heard everything you just said. I even heard that you're going to become the local demon slayer. Congratulations, congratulations. Upon hearing this, He Fenghua couldn't help but be startled. Then he completely dropped the act. So what if you heard it? Just because you speak lightly of yourself, no one will pay you any attention, no matter how loudly you shout. Those who know the times are the true heroes. I advise you to obediently give this credit to me. Unexpectedly, Gu Qingfeng directly took out a loudspeaker. He started shouting loudly, someone come quickly. He Fenghua wants to steal my credit. Seeing this, Gu Qingfeng wanted everyone in the town of Moce to know. He Fenghua hurriedly stuffed paper into his mouth. But Gu Qingfeng had no intention of stopping. He spat out the paper and was about to shout again. Helpless, He Fenghua had no choice but to return the demon-slaying order to him, telling him to stop shouting. After all, the deathly aura of the demon hadn't been fully transferred. If things were exposed now, the evidence would be undeniable. At that time, not only will I be unable to personally contact the magician, but I'm afraid I won't even be able to keep my current position. I absolutely cannot attract outsiders. But Gu Qingfeng has no intention of stopping while ahead. Instead, he started to take advantage of the chaos. He proposed a bribe of 100 taels to He Fenghua. He Fenghua had a dark expression. Holding back his anger, he handed a 100 tael silver note to Gu Qingfeng. But Gu Qingfeng shook his head, indicating that he wanted gold. In anger, He Fenghua cursed, 100 taels of gold? Why don't you just go rob someone? Gu Qingfeng smiled slightly, I'm robbing you. Which is more important, your future or the money? I believe master he can distinguish clearly. Wen Yanhe's expression instantly darkened. The thought of silencing Gu Qingfeng arose in him. Then he suddenly drew a short knife. He viciously stabbed at Gu Qingfeng. But he forgot that Gu Qingfeng's greatest strength was his grandfather. This knife not only failed to break through Gu Qingfeng's defenses. Instead, he was grabbed by Gu Qingfeng by the arm. He asked him how his considerations were going. 100 taels of gold. He Fenghua was so angry he gritted his teeth. While reaching for the banknotes, he asked Gu Qingfeng why he didn't just rob it. Who knew that in the next second, Gu Qingfeng actually punched him directly in the chest. Then he said faintly, "What do you think I'm doing? Lord He, please continue to laugh. I won't disturb you any longer. By the way, Lord He, be careful what you say next time. I can't guarantee I'll want more next time." As soon as these words were spoken, He Fenghua was so enraged he coughed up blood. Then he fainted and collapsed. Looking at He Fenghua lying on the ground, Gu Qingfeng couldn't help but sigh. His psychological endurance is really too weak. Am I going to be blamed for causing Shangguan's death in the future? Forget it, considering the money involved. I might as well show mercy and save your life. With that, Gu Qingfeng reached out and took all of He Fenghua's possessions. Then I shouted at the top of my lungs that the adult had fainted. "Help, someone! Help!" The next day, this incident became a hot topic in the Zhenma temple. You could hear people discussing it everywhere on the streets. I heard it was because the adult wanted to be greedy, and was punished by Gu Qingfeng. As a result, Gu Qingfeng taught him a lesson. Even the people from the secret division have come. Listening to the discussions around him, Gu Qingfeng felt a bit curious. What is the secret division? Beside him, Wang Fati quietly explained that the Demon Suppression Division spies are everywhere. Besides the official demon slayers, there are also undercover agents known as the Secret Division. We are the official demon slayers, responsible for slaying demons and eliminating evil. The secret task is to gather intelligence, listening to the world and monitoring public sentiment, to prevent spies or demon hunters from infiltrating, bewitched by the demons. After hearing Wang Pengzi's explanation, Gu Qingfeng instantly understood. Isn't this the moral inspection team? Originally, he spread these rumors just to ruin He Fenghua's reputation. He didn't expect to gain something unexpected. At that moment, an old man suddenly rushed toward him, then placed his hand on his shoulder, indicating he was from Ansi. "Lord Li wants to see you. Come with me for a trip." Gu Qingfeng was very cooperative as well. He placed his hand on the old man's shoulder and said, "Let's go then. Don't keep Lord Li waiting." While speaking, he reminded Fat Wang to call for Su days. Then he followed the old man to meet Lord Shi, the demon exterminator of the heavenly steppes. The male lead defeated a royal-level demon. However, due to his astonishing achievements, he was labeled a spy. In a certain dark hall, sitting above, Li Qianren looked grave as he stared at several people. He opened his mouth and asked Gu Qingfeng, "Do you know this is a crime of deceiving the emperor?" Gu Qingfeng was somewhat confused by the question. "Lord Li, why do you say this?" Li Qianren continued, saying that one of the 7 demon generals, Jing Yao, would die at the hands of a martial artist who had reached the 4th stage. You said you practiced external martial arts. So, what kind of external martial arts is so powerful? Several masters died at the hands of Jing Yao in that battle 200 years ago. They all practiced external skills. Masters who have cultivated external skills were no match for Jing Yao. I wonder how you, a Huang-rank demon exterminator, managed to do it. Feel free to share. That way, we can learn more life-saving skills. Once these words were spoken, Gu Qingfeng also became a bit flustered. It feels like he's about to be exposed for lying face-to-face. But he still forced himself to calmly answer that everything he said was true. He really did rely on his grandfather to defeat the demon. As he said this, Gu Qingfeng was secretly calculating in his mind. Know yourself and your enemy, and you'll never lose a battle. These people in front of him are all experts. If he's exposed, even if I can't win, I have an indestructible body and many abilities. I should be able to escape without any problem. But it might be a bit difficult to take Wang Pengzi and Su Daisy with me. Right now, I can only take it one step at a time. Then Li Qianren had them recount the whole process from the beginning. But just as Gu Qingfeng was about to speak, he was interrupted by Li Qianren's wave of his hand. Then he pointed to Fat Wang. He let Fat Wang speak. Although Fat Wang is timid, he's not stupid. He knows there are things that can be said. and things that cannot be said. Otherwise, he would definitely get in trouble with Lord Gu. So he embellished the process of events in a flattering way. He portrayed Gu Qingfeng, who is reckless and narrow-minded, as a hero who outsmarts the 7 craftsmen. A hero who risks everything to protect his subordinates. Hearing this, Gu Qingfeng was also dumbfounded. He didn't expect to be seen as so great in Wang Pengzi's eyes. It seems he had previously misjudged him. This kid is quite talented. From now on, be a little simpler. But this strength is commendable. The 2 Foundation Demon Eliminators beside raised objections. If this can lead to victory, then wouldn't the masters who practiced both paths 200 years ago have died in vain? It seems this might be a conspiracy between Jing Yao and Gu Qingfeng. They may be plotting against our demon suppression office. Li Qianren also expressed agreement, saying he feared this might be a trick from the Forbidden Demon and Blood Demon sect. According to the old rules, if you want to prove your innocence, then let's check your body. As soon as those words were spoken, a few people were stunned on the spot. Meanwhile, Li Qianren quietly gathered his true energy in his fingers. Then, unexpectedly, he pressed it against Gu Qingfeng's forehead. He injected strands of true energy into Gu Qingfeng's body. Then he closed his eyes, and began to perceive carefully. But when she opened her eyes, there was a look of shock in them. She didn't expect that Gu Qingfeng could cultivate so many external skills at once. This is simply a genius of external skills. After finishing the examination, Li Qianren also expressed his judgment that what Gu Qingfeng said should be true. Once these words were spoken, the exorcist standing next to the foundation immediately stood up. Lord Li, how is this possible? How will you explain this to those above? Grandmaster Jianxiu couldn't kill the golden demon, but he could. To this, Li Qianren explained, the body is yang, the soul is yin, and grandfather focused on cultivating the body. It is the ultimate method of extreme yang and extreme rigidity. It refines the body with great strength. It is filled with yang energy. The gloom of demons is of the yin attribute. Yin and yang clash. Therefore, the forbidden demon cannot completely replicate Gu Qingfeng's grandfather's cultivation. Thus, he can defeat the clone with his grandfather's power. He defeats the forbidden demon. After hearing Li Qianren's explanation, Gu Qingfeng also breathed a sigh of relief. He thought to himself that he was right. Aside from this explanation, I really can't think of any other reason. He spoke so seriously. If I hadn't experienced it myself, I might have almost believed it. But even so, there were still objections raised. That's not right. Lord Li, if what you say is true, then the master of the external clan wouldn't be completely replicated by Jing Yao. But why? Can't they defeat Jing Yao using the external clan? Once these words were spoken, immediately, he was reprimanded by Li Qianren for his stupidity. You are already a half-step grandmaster, and yet you can't even comprehend this. To enter the grandmaster realm, you need qi to protect your body. Practicing golden bell shield and iron shirt won't improve your strength. Against a replica, this slight advantage is insignificant. Hearing this, the Nether Emperor made contact with the demon envoy. Suddenly, it all became clear. Thank you, my lord, for your guidance. Gu Qingfeng gave a thumbs up to Li Qianren. He couldn't help but marvel at how Lord Li is truly a genius of logic. In modern times, he'd definitely be a boss-level PU master. Do you know what it's like to have a boss who's great at overthinking? He can help you spin a lie, and fool everyone else completely. You, the person involved, almost believed it. But when the other 2 demon expellers had no significance at all, Li Qianren said that the demon of Jin might not have been killed by Gu Qingfeng. This left Gu Qingfeng somewhat speechless. He wondered if this big brother was making up stories again. Playing with suspense isn't done this way. Li Qianren continued with his analysis, and as far as I know, the mirror demon, besides its copying ability, there's also a move called mirror invasion. Similar to possession, it can turn someone into a forbidden slave. Only a grandmaster can resist this move, because a grandmaster's soul power is extremely strong. This is why Zhenhua Temple once sent 10 genius dancers, each at the half-step grandmaster level, to deal with the forbidden demon. So, is there a chance that the Gu Qingfeng standing before us now is actually the forbidden demon? Gu Qingfeng, how will you prove your identity? As soon as these words were spoken, the atmosphere instantly became tense. The two lower-ranked demon slayers nearby quickly picked up their weapons. They cautiously looked at Gu Qingfeng. Gu Qingfeng was also bewildered. He didn't know how to explain it. You can come up with all sorts of scenarios. Can't you explain it to me? But he couldn't reveal the existence of the system. But facing these masters, the skilled ones definitely can't escape. For now, I can only try to explain. If that doesn't work, I'll just fight them to the death. After all, I now possess many skills, and a soul power comparable to that of a master. Thinking about the soul, the official from the Ministry of Personnel suddenly had a flash of inspiration. Isn't this the best explanation? Immediately, he said seriously, Lord Li, I don't know what mirror invasion is. However, before the mirror demon died, it did launch a strange attack on me. It possessed my duplicate, and then transformed into a streak of light that drilled into my body. You actually tried to kill my soul, to occupy my body. I was forced to fight back. With soul power, I accidentally killed him. Regarding what Gu Qingfeng said, the female demon summoner was utterly unfortunate. She was just about to make a move, but was interrupted by Li Qianren's wave. Is what he said true or false? I'll find out as soon as I try. As he finished speaking, a powerful soul fluctuation suddenly erupted from Li Qianduo. Then he unleashed his soul power, and charged toward Gu Qingfeng. Facing this attack, Gu Qingfeng did not dodge or evade. At the same time, a surge of soul power comparable to a master erupted from within him. He directly blocked Li Qianren's attack. In an instant, the collision of two powerful soul forces filled the entire hall with shockwaves. The weakest, Wang Pengzi and Su Daizi, were even thrown out. Seeing this scene, Li Qianren was astonished. He couldn't believe that Gu Qingfeng, with only the 4th level of Qi gathering, could rival a master. What kind of monster is this? Afterward, he no longer made things difficult for Gu Qingfeng. Suppress your soul power. It clearly shows that your soul power is not weaker than mine. Moreover, your aura is upright and peaceful, with no hint of intimidation. It seems that you are not lying. The two Earth-level figures beside Wen Yan are also quite pleased. Since Gu Qingfeng didn't lie, then this great achievement can be truthfully reported to the court. Our Wudong County town of Mose will finally be able to hold our heads up in front of other colleagues. And we have also picked up a genius with a soul power far beyond the ordinary. That's quite a substantial gain. Seeing the change in attitude from the two, Gu Qingfeng couldn't help but internally mock this group of old-timers. Their mood changes really are damn fast. Then, with a wave of his hand, Li Qianyan announced that since it has been confirmed to be correct, he would reward the meritorious. Gu Qingfeng is promoted 1 rank, 1,000 taels of gold, 1,000,000 in merit. This is the reward I give you on behalf of the Zenmosi. It will be reported to the court later. The court will grant additional rewards. You have accomplished so much at such a young age. You will surely achieve great things in the future. Upon hearing this, Gu Qingfeng was overjoyed. This is really going to make me rich. Merit is the currency within the entire De Yen dynasty's Zhengma division. It is universally accepted in all branches, usually obtained by completing tasks and slaying demons. After obtaining merit, you can exchange it for desired resources at the Demon Subduing Division's Contribution Hall. Merit can be used to requisition supplies from the headquarters of the Demon Subduing Division. You can exchange it for some items that are not available to the public. Things that cannot be bought with money. Slaying a celestial level monster can earn you 100,000 merit points. 1,000,000 merit points is equivalent to slaying 10 celestial level monsters. The value is obvious. But just as Gu Qingfeng was still immersed in the joy of getting rich, the female demon hunter said, Lord Li, the other subordinates have no objections, but isn't 1,000,000 merit points a bit excessive? Gu Qingfeng has only reached the 4th level of Qi gathering. He wouldn't be able to use that much merit anyway. Li Qianren turned around coldly and replied, if you can slay a demon of the 7th demon general level, the reward is much more than Gu Qingfeng. The female demon slayer quickly expressed her reluctance. Then she and another demon slayer dragged Wang Pengzi and Su Daizi away. After the two left, Li Qianren told Gu Qingfeng that from today on, you will stir the entire Dian dynasty. But fame often brings trouble, especially when you only have a 4-fold Qi gathering. People will envy you and be jealous of you, but they will not respect you. Although you possess outstanding physical and soul talents, your chi cultivation talent is simply too poor. This means that no matter how hard you train, you will never surpass the steel chi body of someone at the steel 7 level. You cannot become a master. However, alchemy, auxiliary paths, and formations all require strong soul power support, and you just happen to possess. I kept you here alone. I just wanted to ask you, are you willing to walk these paths? Wen Yan Gu Qingfeng is also interested. So, Masterly, which path do you think I should choose? Li Qianren answered without hesitation, saying the single path. Although the single path is the most sought after. But when I ask you to choose a single path, it's to give you a task. As long as you can complete it, even if you can't become a master, you can still gain a status and wealth far beyond that of a master. As for this task, it's to go to the Jade Dragon's secret realm and help the Emperor obtain the elixir of immortality. Can you believe it? With just one pill, you can stand on equal footing with the Emperor. It turns out the current Emperor's life is nearing its end. Over the past decade, he has issued 3 decrees. Whoever can offer an elixir of immortality will be granted a title of nobility. And now, they will even be made a prince on par with the Emperor. As soon as this was said, Gu Qingfeng was instantly stunned, his mouth agape. You must know that the one-word title of king is someone who can stand on equal footing with the Emperor. That is already the highest position in the world today. To seek a higher status, one would even have the capital to rebel. However, he also knew that things couldn't be that simple. So he asked Li Qianren to explain to him in detail what was going on. Only then did he learn. It turns out this elixir of immortality was created over a century ago by the Taoist alchemy master Qiu Yulong. Since ancient times, there's no first place in alchemy, but there is in martial arts. In martial arts, you can determine the best through competition, but alchemy doesn't work that way. Every alchemy master has their own specialty when it comes to elixirs. The value between the 2 different elixirs is difficult to determine. However, the alchemist Qiu Yulong is honored as the elixir king for creating the elixir of immortality. Though the elixir of immortality cannot grant eternal life, it can defy fate and extend one's lifespan. It allows one to regain youth, to change one's destiny. After all, one must live to have a chance. It's a pity that King Dan passed away at a young age. Although he had disciples during his lifetime, none were able to inherit the art of divine alchemy. Not wanting this art to be lost, he left behind the Jade Dragon's secret realm. Inside, there are his lifelong teachings on alchemy and the art of divine refinement. There may even be immortality. The Jade Dragon's secret realm opens once every 5 years. Inside, there are formations and layers of trials. Those at the true Qi realm and above are not allowed to enter. This is meant to select young alchemist talents to inherit a legacy. There is still a year until the next opening of the Jade Dragon's secret realm. Li Qianren's task for Gu Qingfeng is to go to the Jade Dragon's secret realm. Although the Jade Dragon's secret realm has been open for over 100 years, no one has ever obtained the inheritance. However, Li Qianren believes Gu Qingfeng at least has hope. What is most needed for alchemy is a gifted soul. The rest can be made up for later. So he asked Gu Qingfeng to think it over. No need to rush with a reply. Gu Qingfeng thought for a moment. With Li Qianren recommending him, he would surely succeed. Then he would also receive a reward as the recommender. What if he succeeded? Wouldn't that make him a prince? By then, money would probably be as much as he wanted. If he fails, there won't be any punishment. Thus, Gu Qingfeng decisively took on the task. He thought, worst case, it would just be a trip. After all, with the system, sooner or later, he would become an immortal and be in charge. Then, Li Qianren began to prepare for Gu Qingfeng learns the knowledge of alchemy, and the sparks of the body. However, Gu Qingfeng shook his head at Lord Li. You don't need to prepare pills to enhance my sparks, because my fire talent should be at max level. After saying this, Gu Qingfeng directly drew his wooden sword from his waist. He used his fire ability, forming a fire dragon sword. Mighty thousand blades. I can't help but admire your talent in body refining, soul talent, fire control talent. I've found that, aside from cultivation, you're good at everything else. That's quite the remark. Gu Qingfeng was a bit embarrassed too. Lord Li, if you speak like this, it's easy to ruin your cold image in my heart. And just before leaving, Gu Qingfeng suddenly thought of something. He asked Li Qianren for the locust tree demon from the first layer of the demon suppression domain. Although Li Qianren didn't know what Gu Qingfeng wanted the locust tree demon for, he didn't ask further and agreed. Then Gu Qingfeng took his leave. Not long after he left, a dark shadow emerged from the corner. It told Li Qianren that it had just discovered me, although it didn't find me through my soul. When I peered at it from the shadows, its expression showed a hint of unease. Although it didn't look at me, I knew it had found me. I suspect that he may have had his soul replaced. His soul is sharp. Rather than saying it's a talent, I think it seems more like it was taken over by a powerful being. There's no hint of coercion. The one who took over him should be a master of the human race. However, Li Qianren doesn't seem to care about this. On the contrary, he feels that if he really was taken over by a master, then his chances of success will be higher. I didn't expect that either. He actually has such a powerful talent for fire control. This gives me a bit more confidence. Now, nothing else matters. I just need to not become old. After hearing this, the shadow asked Li Qianduan, "Is this worth it? Once you do this, you'll be against the whole world. You still have a bright future ahead. Even above the masters, there are opportunities to reach." But before he could finish speaking, Li Qianduan interrupted him directly. "Shut up. Do you really think I won't kill you?" The dark figure didn't say anything further after hearing this. With a sigh, he vanished from the spot. At the same time, Gu Qingfeng returned to his residence. He tossed and turned in bed. Just now in the hall, he had sensed there was someone else inside, also a Grandmaster-level expert, but it was only a suspicion that the other side might be related to Li Qianren's safety. After turning it over and over in his mind, Gu Qingfeng felt that every word Li Qianren said today seemed to be tempting him to take on this mission. As for why exactly, he didn't know either. He just felt that Li Qianren was being too nice to him. So nice that it felt a bit off. But after thinking about it for a long time, he couldn't figure it out either. In the end, he decided to stop thinking about it. Who cares what the purpose is? Isn't it all about the Jade Dragon's secret realm a year from now? You can't even predict tomorrow, let alone a year later. We'll deal with it when the time comes. Just then, there was a knock at the door. A strong, handsome man walked towards him carrying a box. He then tossed the box. This was a reward from Lord Li. However, because the position of exorcist in Zenmosi was already filled, he could only take a nominal position for now. He would first be an assistant to He Fenghua. But a month ago, he was still the same as the exorcist who had been lost. He heard that there was no shortage of them in the front. Gu Qingfeng also let out a sigh of relief. If they're okay, let them go ahead and take care of their work. As for the vacancy issue, we'll have to trouble Lord He a bit. But considering this gold, let's allow Lord He to live a few more days. Then Gu Qingfeng stored all the gold into another dimension. Now we have the money. It's time to think about something else. I haven't seen junior sister in a long time. Gu Qingfeng decided to go see her. I wonder how her practice is coming along. As the saying goes, absence makes the heart grow fonder. As soon as Gu Qingfeng opened the cell door, junior sister warmly embraced him, kept shouting, "Master." Then, with a pitiful look, took off his shoes, and showed Gu Qingfeng the injuries he got from martial arts training over the past few days. Unexpectedly, Gu Qingfeng, oblivious to his feelings, grabbed his foot, and directly picked him up, saying, "Stop messing around. Why would a corpse feel pain? Hurry up and show me the results." Then Gu Qingfeng called for the eye demon to act as a projector to help him set up the scene. As the music started playing, the cell instantly transformed into a stage. However, Gu Qingfeng still felt something was missing. He instructed his junior sister to change into a different outfit. She began to dance the choreography she had taught earlier. Watching the familiar dance accompanied by the familiar music, Gu Qingfeng nodded in satisfaction, pleased with it. The feeling of home is so good, but happy times are always short. After a while, Gu Qingfeng yawned. Finally, he remembered today's important matter. He then went to the cell at the base of the locust tree. Seeing Gu Qingfeng's sudden visit, the locust tree spirit was also surprised, but still smiling, they greeted the master. "You have arrived. Congratulations on obtaining the Mu Wang sword." Gu Qingfeng also smiled in response, sharing the joy. "I came today to congratulate you as well. Hearing this, the Huai Tree Demon couldn't help but feel puzzled. Congratulate me for what? Gu Qingfeng smiled slightly. Congratulations, you are about to leave this haunted place. I will take you to a better place. After hearing this, the Huai Tree Demon. Tentatively, the master asked, are you going to let me leave the demon suppression domain? As he spoke, the locust tree monster turned its hand behind its back, and a sharp spike appeared in its palm. But before it could act, Gu Qingfeng had already lunged forward and stabbed. Seeing this, the locust tree monster wanted to say that it had made a contribution, and hoped Gu Qingfeng would let it off the hook. But Gu Qingfeng had long seen through his intentions. He knew that what he had previously called the offering of the Mu Wang sword was actually meant to backfire on himself with the Mu Wang sword. If it weren't for his extraordinary talent, he might have truly fallen into his trap. Then the Mu Wang sword began to emit a green light, and a powerful suction force immediately extracted all the energy from the Sephora tree monster's body. In a short while, the energy of the locust tree demon was completely drained. It fell to the ground and was silent. At the same time, a notification from the system indicated that Mu Wang's rank had been upgraded from low-grade to mid-grade. Gu Qingfeng glanced at the corpse of the locust tree demon on the ground. After a moment of thought, he felt it would be a waste. He planned to send the tree bark to the processing line. It should be able to produce quite a few floating transfers. So he placed the corpse of the locust tree demon into the dimensional space. Then he left the cell. He was getting ready to head to the contribution hall to exchange for something. In the previous moment, you looked down on the male lead. In the next moment, the male lead made you feel unworthy. Gu Qingfeng arrived at the contribution hall of the Demon Suppression Division to exchange items. The person in charge saw that he was only at the Earth realm. Instantly, their face was full of impatience. They casually pointed to the catalog of lower-tier items next to them. Let Gu Qingfeng see for himself. To his surprise, Gu Qingfeng placed the demon-slaying order with 1,000,000 merits and the appointment document for demon-slaying envoy on the table. He just took a look at it. He was immediately dumbfounded. He didn't expect that Gu Qingfeng, who was at the 4th level of Qi gathering, was actually a Xian-level demon-slaying historian. Moreover, he had also achieved 1,000,000 merits. Having worked in the contribution hall for so many years, this was the first time he had seen someone at the 4th level of Qi gathering who had 1,000,000 merits and had killed 7 demon generals. So he compared it several times. Only then did he reluctantly accept this reality. Then he respectfully handed the catalog to Gu Qingfeng. Gu Qingfeng took the catalog and gently poked it. Suddenly, countless treasures and ammunition appeared before his eyes. He looked on in amazement. The steward was no stranger to this reaction. After all, everyone reacts like this the first time they exchange merit for something. Then Gu Qingfeng threw the catalog pill directly onto the table. Boldly said, "Give me one." Unexpectedly, the officer said his merit wasn't enough. Gu Qingfeng, enraged, raised his fist, and asked, "What do you mean?" The officer hurriedly explained, "Master Gu. Look, these are all high-grade ammunition. If you want to buy a few, I can contact headquarters to arrange for you to get the goods. But if it's a single item, each of these pills is extremely valuable. Most of them are at headquarters. For example, the Heavenly Fragrance Life Replenishing Pill. One costs 100,000 merit points. I truly don't have that kind of authority. Moreover, your merit points are really insufficient." Wen Yan's expression darkened instantly. "What the hell are you showing me the stuff from the Grand Yanwang Dynasty's MOC headquarters for? What I want is the distribution from Wudong County. You made me happy for nothing." Then, the attendant brought Gu Qingfeng a catalog of medicinal pills distributed in Wudong County. Gu Qingfeng casually picked up a catalog of mid-tier medicinal pills and took a look. The prices seemed quite reasonable. Then he tossed the entire catalog back onto the table. He said to give him a copy. "I can buy it this time, right? If you have it here, hurry up and bring it to me." He quickly said he had it. Then he started helping Gu Qingfeng find the items on the list. But after listing out the shopping items, he still couldn't help but complain in his mind. Isn't Gu Qingfeng a fool? Others buy medicine according to departments and by the bottle. This guy buys by the piece. Could it be that he was stimulated in some way? But Gu Qingfeng didn't have time to care about what he thought. With a wave of his hand, he directly signed his name. This time, in addition to the elixirs, he also exchanged for a few magical weapons and techniques. First, there is the Qiankuan ring that can store items. It just happens that needs an entrance. With this medium, we can do a demonstration. In the future, using the to store things will be much more convenient. There's also the lower-grade spiritual weapon, Swift Wind Gale. It serves as a wind attribute auxiliary spiritual weapon, possessing abilities such as lightness, speed, and wind manipulation. It can enable short-term flight. This can compensate for its slow speed. The Pure Yang Wujigong is the advanced version of Pure Yang Gong. The difficulty of training is extremely high. The practitioner can only absorb 10% of the Pure Yang True Qi. This can be converted into Pure Yang Wujizan Qi. Gathering 100 strands of Pure Yang Wujizan Qi is required to break through to the next level. Gu Qingfeng thought the requirements of the Pure Yang technique were too low, not suitable for a genius like him. Only a technique like the Pure Yang Infinity technique, with its grandeur, matched his temperament. But when he packed up his things and walked out of the contribution hall, he saw that Fatty Wang and Simple Su had already been waiting for quite some time. It turned out they were there to invite Gu Qingfeng to the celebration feast, and the location was set at Tianxiang Tower, where they could enjoy music and entertainment. The first thing the protagonist did after his promotion and wealth was to take his subordinates to Tianxiang Tower for some fun and entertainment. As soon as he entered, he requested the largest private room. At this time, the Tianxiang building was already full of people. A woman on stage twisted her seductive waist to the music. The old men in the audience couldn't help but drool. Gu Qingfeng looked at the woman's outfit. The atmosphere felt quite nice too. He planned to go back and let his junior sister try it out as well. At that moment, a little girl suddenly blocked his way. Respectfully, a plate was brought forward. He said, "Please, esteemed guest, flip the first." This is divided into 3 rows. The top row is for the courtesans. The middle is for the bottom is for the. These represent the 3 levels of the girls at Tianxiang Tower. Their quality ranges from high to low. The prices range from high to low. If you like someone, just flip over their tag. The back of the tag is engraved with flowers, representing that the beautiful flower has an owner. You cannot choose anymore. Wen Yan Gu Qingfeng couldn't help but sigh, indeed playing. You really know how to have fun. After speaking, Gu Qingfeng directly flipped over the cards of 2 courtesans. They were Ru Hua and Siyu. These 2 are among the few sister flowers in Tianxiang Tower. After choosing for himself, Gu Qingfeng didn't forget about his brothers. Let Wang Pengzi and Su Daizi choose one too. Look at the 2 of you. Upon hearing this, Wang Fatty and Su Daiz both revealed grinning smiles. Then, the celebration banquet officially began. Not only were there beautiful women accompanying them, but there were also dancers in revealing outfits swaying their sexy waists. Wang Fatty and Su Daiz were having a great time, happily toasting each other. They were thoroughly enjoying themselves. At the same time, in a dark underground palace, a man shrouded in a black robe is discussing something with a stunning woman dressed in red. The man's hoarse voice came from behind his red mask. "You've come. Jing Yao is dead. And the blood god seed on him is missing." The woman in red was slightly startled. "Missing? How is that possible? The blood god seeds should be able to sense each other. Have you tried?" The man shook his head. "I can't sense it. Maybe someone used some special method to hide the blood god's child, and severed the connection with us. So I need you to investigate." According to information from the followers, the person who killed all the demons is named Gu Qingfeng. He is a demon slayer from Wudong County, Zenmosi. The cultivation level is only at the 4th stage of Qi gathering. Upon hearing this, the woman couldn't help but let out a light laugh. "It's a bit interesting. Very intriguing." Before dying, Jing Yao left a mark on Gu Qingfeng. The mark indicates that he is currently at the Tianxiang Tower in Wudong County. "I also have a clone at Tianxiang Tower." "Then leave it to me. I also want to thank him in person for killing Jing Yao. It resolved my worries." At this time, in a private room of Tianxiang Tower, Gu Qingfeng was just about to get close with the girl he ordered. Suddenly, he heard a commotion outside the door. It turned out that the top courtesan, Miss Hongli, had come out. This caused a stir among the guests in the hall. "I heard the top player has come out." Gu Qingfeng immediately felt that the girl next to him was no longer the same. Without looking back, he walked out of the room. This left the girl in bed very dissatisfied. Weren't you the one who said there were ominous signs? Shouldn't you help turn misfortune into fortune? Why are you leaving? Meanwhile, Gu Qingfeng quickly walked to the hall. Can't wait to see what the headliner looks like. At that moment, the room finally opened. In the midst of the guests' gasps, the girl in red, Hongli, walked out. As if she were a celestial being descending from the heavens, she gently leaped from the second floor, grasping the red silk ribbon, slowly sliding down to the center of the stage. Then she began to dance with the music. The graceful dance drew thunderous applause from the guests below. Many were enchanted by it. Even the petals falling from the sky had countless people competing to catch them. They held them in their palms, savoring them, as if they carried the fragrant essence of red carp. Even Gu Qingfeng couldn't help but reach out to grab one, but he only ended up grabbing air. This made him instantly alert. Realizing that this red carp is using illusion, the male lead arrives at the Tianxiang Tower to listen in. However, he discovers that the top courtesan here is using illusions to confuse the guests, but this level of illusion can be broken by anyone with a slightly strong will. However, this does not include Wang Fati and Su Daisy. Seeing the two of them completely immersed with foolish expressions, Gu Qingfeng immediately became furious. He went up and punched Wang Fati. He pulled him out of the illusion, angrily said, "You fell for such a simple trick? Wipe your drool. Don't embarrass me." Unexpectedly, Fatty Wang looked regretful. "Lord Gu, why so serious? How many interesting things have you missed? We're here to have fun, especially in this case. There's really no need to be too serious. The Red Carp Girl is famous in our Wudong County for her dual talents in illusion and charm. Many people come here just to experience her illusions and charms, spending the least amount of money to compensate for the regrets in reality as much as possible. Why not?" Hearing this, Gu Qingfeng's gaze swept over the guests downstairs. He realized it was indeed true. Everyone was completely immersed in the illusion, unable to extricate themselves, their faces beaming with joy. So he eagerly jumped down from upstairs, ready to experience the illusion himself. But unfortunately, shortly after he jumped down, Miss Hongli finished her dance and went to rest, and leave a maid to relay the message. "Rest assured, everyone, you will still have a chance to meet Miss Red Carp. Miss Red Carp has posed a question. As long as you can answer it, you can go to the backyard and drink with Miss Red Carp. Chat by candlelight." Gu Qingfeng, from the crowd of scholars, immediately raised his hand excitedly. "I thought this was just a typical story formula." The protagonist arrived at the brothel. Then, using the Tang and Song poems he memorized in his past life, he astonished everyone. Then, the courtesan, Qingmu, thought to herself that he must also be the protagonist. How could she encounter such good fortune? Soon after, a maid unfurled a scroll. It was adorned with countless bright and colorful flowers. Seeing this, Gu Qingfeng thought it was going to be themed around flowers. I was secretly delighted. This is way too easy. I could think of at least 10 poems off the top of my head. But unexpectedly, the maid's challenge turned out to be an illusion test. She gently shook the painting, and suddenly countless flowers seemed to come to life, covering the entire stage. It turns out that this painting was personally created by Miss Hongli, depicting a contest of flowers. Among them, only 3 are real flowers. The rest are illusions. The challenge this time is to identify these 3 real flowers. Each person can only choose one. In the end, 3 people will be able to meet Miss Hongli in the backyard. Now everyone can begin. As soon as the words fell, Gu Qingfeng was just about to call Wang Pengzi and Su Daisy to take action. But when he turned around, he found that the two had already started searching ahead of him. Soon, someone brought flowers to the maid for verification. Unfortunately, all they had were fake flowers transformed by an illusion. They had to return disappointed. Seeing this, Gu Qingfeng directly used his master-level spiritual power to begin searching. In no time, he found the location of the real flowers. He picked them and brought them to the maid for verification. The maid saw the flower and immediately announced that we should congratulate this young man. He is the first to find the real flower. However, this result caused an uproar among the guests below. They suspected this was a scheme by Tianxiang Tower. Otherwise, How could someone at the 4th level of Qi gathering possibly be faster than those of them at the steam mirror level? But in the face of the guest's doubts, the maid seemed to have long been accustomed to it. She chose to ignore it completely. Taking Gu Qingfeng, they walked to the backyard. Seeing this, Wang Pengzi wanted to follow them, but he was decisively refused by Gu Qingfeng. In the end, he could only stay and accompany Su Daisy. In order to become the leading courtesan's assistant, the male lead passed the first illusion test. He followed the maid to the backyard of Tianxiang Tower. This was in contrast to the lively and noisy scene in the front yard. The backyard appeared very quiet and serene. Gu Qingfeng also arrived at room 1 to rest, guided by a maid. Not long after, guests for rooms 2 and 3 who found the real flower also arrived. It turns out that Miss Hongli set up 3 checkpoints in total. After entering the room, there are still 2 rounds. The room numbers also represent the order of answering questions. Room 1 starts, then room 3. If everyone passes in the end, one of the 3 will be chosen as the aide. However, just as Gu Qingfeng was about to enter the room,